nothing can save ya, cause this is the season of funky behavior. I came to relax your mind, you can recline. On what? On this here rhyme. I like the style, I'm staying for a while. It helps me show cats that I'm versatile. I'll touch your dial, turn your frown to a smile. I'll make you feel like you're having a child. So relax and open up, child. I'm about to make you walk what? Pimp style or pimped out style. You don't understand the logic. See, if you don't have it all, I'll take a deposit. I got shit for you, it's alright indeed. It's like going to the garden and planting the seed. It might tickle for a second, but it won't bleed. So just relax, just hear a dope track. The vibes is real nice, everything is real fat. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat. Just relax and just hear a dope track. The vibes is real nice, everything is real fat. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat. Your entertainment at the same time, edutainment. In other words, you could call it bent. What I'm saying is that I'm here at your service. It's hard work, but then again, I deserve this. I'm helping people enjoy their spare time. I'm like an instructor when I'm doing my rhyme. Relax and just hear the dope track. It's really not all that, it's not like a gag. We like that when everything is relaxed and chill. You don't have to get fucked up or take pills, cause I like being myself, it feels good. Yo, it makes my meals taste good. 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 So just relax. Here's your dope track. The vibes is real nice, everything is real fat. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat. Just relax and hear a dope track. The vibes is real nice, everything is real fat. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat. Just relax. My mind state, now balloon, it won't inflate. Just take the buzz, it's much wiser, kid, fuck the shade. And take it to a lower level, and dig a ditch for a devil. Got some more kids and pass the shovel. Dig a hole, take them on a spiritual roll. Lyrics unfold, either that or unroll the scroll. Episodes keep reoccurring and stifling. People's vision get blurring, their hearts start murmuring. I'm about 5 times iller than a Sherman. Introspection is God's gift to the miracle. I freak material, lamb's milk without the cereal. When MCs say your booty, they mean venereal. Your fake material hip-hop killers, they more faking than fucking Michael Jackson and Thriller. The status of a hoe, Quanto Costa. They wanna know how much it costs, kid, I bet for keep tell so me just relax and just hear a dope track. The vibes is real nice, everything is real fat. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat. Just relax and just hear a dope track. The vibes is real nice, everything is real fat. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat. Just relax.
Check. Oh my God. It's time to get this dude out of here, man. This is the worst. You know, what's up, everybody? And thanks for tuning in. What's up, Dottie? What's up, Bits? What's up, Chris? What's up? Are you okay? Yo, Bits, you remember? We was like, it's gonna be Christmas. It's not gonna go past Christmas. Well, we don't know exactly, but I mean, it sounds to me like it's going to be around the new year. Like, some new year announcement. I mean, it's good actually to have an imagination. Hold on. It's good to actually have an imagination, because with an imagination, you can imagine shit that a lot of people can't imagine. You know what I'm saying? Like you wasn't wrong. Shit, you lost your mind status. How you do that? No, you joking. Okay. Nah. Nobody can go wrong with this. I mean, I also thought it was 10 days at one point. I'm like, how? I mean, this guy, first of all, shit was already bad from the start. And then so many people just couldn't see it. Isn't that what we're finding out now? Basically, listen, let me do some preaching here. MAGA people, you all fucked up. Like, you all fucked up. You all picked a dude that is said by many, especially little girls, people that were little girls at one time, say that that man is a raper. Okay. And MAGA people, you all appointed this dude to be the head of your goddamn party. Is that not suicidal enough? I mean, at one point I was like, man, that's kind of fucked up. Joe Biden left us like this, man. How come Joe Biden didn't do something about this shit? Now I see why, because he likely had an inclination of all of this shit. And I'm telling you, listen, it just, I'm sorry. There is no way in hell you could have all this said dirt against Donald Trump and not have people in government looking at him sideways when he's coming into office, like already knowing that this dude is a flat out weirdo, a flat out danger, flat out corrupt, flat out everything. I mean, he had the Russia scandal, and what did he play the Russia scandal off? And this is what's beautiful now, because if you learned anything about Trump in time, if you didn't figure it out a year ago, if you didn't figure it out before the last term, you know now Trump always stands down 10 toes on a motherfucking lie. I mean, you know, Trump stands 10 toes down on a goddamn lie. So the first thing he's going to offer you is the motherfucking lie. He's going to and you could pretty much be sure that if Trump is denying it, it probably happened and it's probably true. I mean, very simple. That's his pattern. Nothing was ever true that nobody ever said about Trump. People say shit, a million goddamn things, and these are disastrous things. And Trump will still be like, nah, it's a hoax. It's a hoax. News media goes along with it. News media. He is the first president that news media actually said, I'm not going to ask this guy no tough questions. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to, do my journalistic due diligence. I'm going to give him a pass. Like, wasn't that the weirdest thing to have to watch? It's like to watch things bend, not bend by the law, but bend by, like, bastardation, molestation. Like, these molesters, by the way, they're very mental. They don't just get people physically. They start off fucking your brain up. Like, they will fuck your brain up too. And Trump, I've said this before, because nobody protected those victims back then in the 1990s. Now we all getting molested by his ass, because that's exactly what happens. He just invaded the entire United States of America with that same shit he was on back in Mar-a-Lago, back with Jeffrey Epstein. All of that bullshit invaded the United States of America, the highest seat in the country. And not just the highest seat, the whole administration, the FBI, the CIA. I mean, we have people that would never be allowed to be close to anything, have any real serious government job, all of a sudden heading up every serious goddamn branch of government that there is, every department that there is. It's like, what the hell? We got Pete Keg Breath. All of this goes back to Eric. What's up? All of this goes back to 1990 something when he was hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein. That's why he picked these people. These people are just, his brain picked these people. His molested ass brain pick these type of people. This is him. This is his ideas. This is who he is. This is who he is. This is not the fake Trump. This is not the guy. The fake Trump. You know who the fake Trump is? He's the guy that sticks his chest out, puts his 10 toes down on a lie, and look at you in the face and tell you that lie again and again and again. And for some reason, certain types of people go along with it. Just go along with it. They give him breath. They give him life. You know what I'm saying? These people gave Trump life. And here's the evidence. Because all this shit was in the background the whole time. This shit with what is it? They finding out now that there was 10 co-conspirators. Right, 10 co-conspirators. that information, you could be pretty sure everybody else in the past administration and the administration before had some idea about that. All of them for all this time. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this to point a finger, because Trump got to wear this jacket himself. He's got to wear that jacket. He's got to wear what folks are saying about who he is as a person. He's got to wear that shit himself. But it's pretty sure. Look, hold on. Let's just go straight to the first document here, just to take a look. I mean, then I want to hear some commentary and hear some of the feedback and the analysis on it from Legacy Media. But let's just look at this first document. I mean, this shit is crazy. I mean, and there's so many documents, but these are damning documents. These are not things. Listen, this man cannot run from this. They are saying in these files, there's testimony, there's victims saying this dude raped them. Donald Trump, like Donald fucking Trump, like flat out, and this is what has been said didn't exist by Pam Bondi. They said didn't exist by Kash Patel. What did he say? Nothing in there to indict anybody. No, nothing in there to indict. That's exactly what Kash Patel said. And lo and behold, what do you got? You got people. You got evidence. You have the exact opposite of what he said. That's exactly what you got. The exact opposite. So let me go on over here and pull this shit up. Hopefully y'all can see it. Let me see. Oh, where is it at? Is it here? Here we go. Boom. Now, I don't know how many of you all can really see this. Let me see if I can make it a little bigger. And then maybe you can see it a little better, right? Is that possible, you think? Let me see here. Okay, I know what I'm going to do. Wait a second. You all can't see that. Okay. So let me do something else here. I'm going to read it in 1 second. I just want to make sure you guys can see it as well as possible. Unfortunately, this is how it's going to look, right? Because it's a PDF. But here, let me take my camera off too, and then I can read a little bit of this for you guys. Now, check this out. This is what it says, and it is not looking good at all. It's really, really foul. In fact, maybe I should just blow this up so you guys can see the main words here, which is just horrific, I mean, these words are horrific. Listen, here it is. The date this was written. Now, this is apparently this is intercommunications, right? These are intercommunications within the case files, right? Within the FBI, right? These are intercommunications about things that they have read from other things that exist, obviously, right? I mean, this is what my take is on it, right? From what I've heard. But I will hear after this, I'll take a listen to Legacy Media and see the different breakdowns and see what else is said. But this is what I take from it. This was done in 2020. So this is during or right before, during or somewhere around the Jeffrey Epstein trial, 2019. This is right after that. And this is just before the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, right? Because this is 10/27/20. You know what? As a matter of fact, let me see something here. When was Maxwell indicted? Let me just check this out. 2 seconds. All right, you see here. So this is just after she was indicted. Can y'all see that? Right. So here we go. So let's go back to this one. This is right after she was indicted. And so let me read. So this is later that year, maybe, 4 months later? Okay. 3:20 Eastern time. Okay, date of birth doesn't say. Okay, now here, cellular phone number called the FBI, right? So that's blank. Cellular phone number called the FBI. Right. And these blanks don't appear in what I'm reading, but I'm just reading something else so I can see the text a little bigger. All right. Right. Called the FBI National Threat Operations Center, NTOC. right, unit to report potential information related to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Blank provided the following information. Blank reported around 1997, right? So originally this was in 1997. This is reported then. He made contact with birth date, blah, blah, blank, whom he had known from 6 or 7 years prior as they had a son together. Okay. Blank and something ended up dating. As explained, she was having money issues and problems with her daughter. Okay. Blank noted they were friends from before. During the contact in 1997, asked how to spell Ghislaine numerous times, as noted she had taken her daughters up to see one of the supposed fathers who lived in Niagara Falls, New York. Recently, data blank reported she had met a lady who invited her daughters, date blank, right, to a fancy hotel and met Donald Trump and some of his friends in 1997. Now, this is a hotel. Now, think about this. Let me pull my own camera back up. Now, think about this, y'all. This is crazy. Hold on. Let me also make this smaller for you all here, because since I'm reading it, maybe you don't need to see it. You can't see all the text anyway, so hopefully this will suffice what I'm doing right now. Now check this out. In any case, this is a common pattern and a common theme. When you hear hotel, right? When you hear hotel, you could also think about some of the testimony that some of the victims have made. Like they said, one of them, what's her name now? Let me think. Katie, right? Katie is her name. Katie Johnson said that she was 13 years old when she went to, when she went to orgies when she met Donald Trump. Now, for the reference, I'm going to pull that up, right? So you all can hear it while she's saying it. You see what I'm saying? So you can hear it while she's saying it, because it's important when we read this for you to kind of be able to understand how it's a similar situation being spoken of, essentially, right? And if you don't really hear it, you won't understand it, right? So let me see here. Let me go into this Katie Johnson.
No, there was nothing
Now listen to this.
promised to me for doing this interview.
Excellent.
Yes, everything that I say at this interview will be the truth. I met Donald Trump at some parties I attend that I was working for Mr. Jeffrey Epstein. There was about 3 or 4 times that I had encounters with Donald Trump. I was 13.
So you hear that, right? So she was 13. Now, this is her testimony, right? And I believe I have a picture of her. I'm not going to show the picture of what she looked like back then, but I believe if you look at my shorts, you will notice one of those pictures is someone who also is, you just take a look at it now, but the younger version. So, but in any case, she says she's 13, right? Now listen to where she says they had her go.
The first time that I met Donald Trump was at a party at Jeffrey Epstein's mansion.
Okay, a party in Jeffrey Epstein's mansion, right? So now, if you just change the situation, because like I was saying before, listen, I said this before about these blacked out pictures. Also, I'm glad that that's actually coming up. This thing about the blacked out pictures I talked about in maybe the stream before, the last stream or the one before, right? I think it was the last stream. I said that it has to be something in it. They blacken it out because it's a different location. And if someone else recognizes that location, then they might put 2 and 2 together. What I meant by that is also, in short, maybe Donald Trump is in those pictures or his place is in those pictures. You see either one. So it could be 2 possibilities of those pictures, because you don't black out. You could see right here on the screen, they can easily black out. Articles. You see, They could block out a testimony and block out words and this kind of redact the words, but a whole page is usually an indication of a picture, right? You see what I'm saying? A whole page is usually an indication of a picture. So, but in any case, let's hear a little more before she stops.
There was an orgy going on, and he was kind of watching off in the distance.
Okay.
And he basically asked if I could come over and give him.
Right. So in other words, the action, right? So now keep that in mind. Now I'm going to pull this back up and read some more here. That was just for a reference, so people could kind of, get the gist of this scenario here, right? Now it says here, asking how to spell Ghislaine Maxwell, right? Giving her money, okay. Went to a fancy hotel and met Donald Trump and some friends in 1997. So I'm thinking they may as well said fancy hotel, like hotel room, like big fancy, not like, maybe if you ever been to a casino or something like that, you get penthouses, or a hotel, you get a penthouse. That's what I think you might have to put in mind, right? Now, continued asking blank how to spell Ghislaine, implying Ghislaine had to give her money, had given her money and would give her additional money if needed. Okay. And let me see here. What else does it say? Right. And will give her additional money if needed. So you can see how they kind of pimping these girls out, like getting them used to having anything they can want. You have a good time. Everything's on us. La, 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 anything you want. And then when it comes time to that favor, you see they're kind of forced to figure out, like, okay, do you keep accepting the money, or do you, get kicked out and no one's going to believe you anyway and the money's over type of scenario, right? So on Christmas Eve 1999, or the day prior? Okay, day pre. Okay, blank was over visiting his son who he had with years prior. Okay, blank began to, as she seemed to be acting strange, okay, and ill, and blank if he needed a ride home. That's interesting. Okay, they have that blacked out. All right. I wonder what that means. Ask about blank about his time driving a limousine. Okay. Now this is 2021. Now let me see here. The last one was, okay, so this is later. This is a different time frame here now. So then I'm reading from, see? Okay, just so you know. Okay, so the next part says, this is from 2021, 2710. I'm curious if that's an error in the date or what. But in any case, yeah, that's curious. Okay, ask blank about his time driving a limousine, right? So that's obviously the limousine driver, right? For 2 years in this Dallas-Fort Worth area during time as a driver, and he had met Donald Trump. Okay, blank noted he picked the president up in 1995 and took him to the DFW airport. Blank reported some things President Trump had spoken about during his ride while on his cell phone were very concerning. Blank reported he was a few seconds from pulling the limousine over on the median, and within a few seconds of pulling him out of the car and hurting him due to some things he was saying. Like the limousine driver's like, man, I almost pulled this limousine over and like jacked this dude up due to what he was saying. They're talking about Donald Trump and the things he was saying on the phone. Okay. As seller chose not to. Okay, as the caller chose not to, or what? I don't know what that means. Oh, as caller chose not to. Blank noted Trump continuously stated the name Jeffrey while on the phone and made references to abusing some girls. It was unsure who he was talking about, who he was talking to, nor who he was referencing. Okay, so The driver doesn't know who he was talking to when he was mentioning Jeffrey Epstein or when he was mentioning the girl that they had raped. So Trump is on the phone, allegedly having a conversation with someone who he is describing how he and Jeffrey Epstein raped a little girl, like flat out. That's what they're talking about here. Okay. That's what's being alleged. And keep in mind, this is what the Justice Department says don't exist. They knew this. You see what I'm saying? They knew this. They knew this shit. They knew this. And I mean, so the question is, Pam Bondi knew this. She knew this. How did they not know this? If they didn't know this, that means they've been sitting up there lying to people because people have been asking them questions. They've been to congressional hearings and fucking inquiries and all of this stuff, being asked questions. And Kash Patel is like, nope, no, nothing there. Nothing. There's nothing concerning. Nothing. I mean, not verbatim they said that, but they gave the inclination that nothing pointed to any type of rape or any type of being connected to Jeffrey Epstein in that way. They made the public believe that President Trump could not be mixed up with Jeffrey Epstein that way when they clearly had a document that mixed him up that way. Simple and plain, you know. And I know some people are going to be out here talking about, man, why don't you talk about the trip to Mars, man? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's going on. Please talk about the Clintons. Well, I did that a couple of days ago when we looked at Bill Clinton's picture. But right now, we talking about this shit. This is breaking news, yo. This is breaking fucking news. Yo, hit the like button, please. Hit the like button. Now, this gets ugly. This is ugly. Damn. Now, listen to this. He wasn't sure who he was talking to, right? And he wasn't sure who he was referencing, right? As Blank talked about his time meeting Donald Trump, immediately demeanor went to stone cold. As stated, he raped me. Blank said, what? As replied, Donald J. Trump had raped her along with Jeffrey Epstein, noted some girl with a funny name took me into a fancy hotel or building. That's how it happened. Let me read this again. This is crazy. Okay. Referencing, as Blank talked about his time meeting Donald Trump, immediately the demeanor went stone cold as, okay, so the driver, they're talking about the driver here, the driver's demeanor as giving his communication to the FBI. This is a personal interview, obviously, right? So they can see the driver's face and demeanor. So they're talking about the driver's demeanor, the person who's reporting what he heard Donald Trump say. Okay, his face went stone cold and stated, he raped me. Blank said, what? As replied, Donald J. Trump had raped her along with Jeffrey Epstein, noted some girl with a funny name, took me into a fancy hotel or building. Okay. Right. So some girl with a funny name is saying he took me into a fancy hotel or building. That's how it happened. So this is Blank advised to call the police regarding the incident and as stated, I can't, they will kill me. Let me see something here. Is this? Okay, I get it. He was unsure who he was talking to nor who he was referencing. As Blank talked about his time meeting Donald Trump. Okay. His demeanor changed. As stated, went stone cold as stated he raped me. I think there must be a typo here. So yeah, there's a typo because this is not what I'm reading. I'm reading some a copy of this and then just repasted the text. So maybe there's some text missing there. Now let me see here. Okay, this is crazy. Okay, now that's how it happened. Blank advised to call the police regarding the incident. As stated, I can't. Okay, so this is the limousine driver, and apparently the limousine driver has been driving Donald Trump and driving this witness, this girl, something. That's what it appears to be to me, right? And this is the FBI's own document also, right? This is their actual inner communication. Now, let me see here. Some girl with a funny name took me into a fancy hotel or building. That's how it happened, right? She's talking about Ghislaine Maxwell. Blank advised to call the police regarding the incident. As stated, I can't. They will kill me. I can't. They will kill me. Like, this is what's being said in this document. On Christmas Day, contacted blank, stated she had in fact called the police about what they talked about. Blank told she had done good. Okay. Blank did not hear from or until 2000. Okay. Is that January 10th, 2000 maybe? I think that's what that means, right? 1/10/2000. Reached out to blank stating dead and noted she was found with her head blown off and Kiefer. What the fuck? Yo, are y'all fucking hearing this shit? This is insane. They're talking about somebody getting murdered over this shit. And you know something? Just listening to some of these stories and seeing how this shit added up, like Donald Trump was in Palm Beach, Epstein is in Palm Beach, how they hung out, how they kicked back together, just all the little stories, how they did this shit. Like, thinking about that, and one of my reflections was, I'd be surprised. I actually said this in one of the streams. I said, I'd be surprised if somebody didn't get killed and it's being kept a secret over this kind of shit, over Epstein Island, over something, because when you're doing all this dirty shit, everybody's not going to go along. Everyone's not going to just go along. There's going to be 1% at least, someone who doesn't go along like the rest of the crowd. And I can't believe I'm actually reading this shit right now. This is crazy. This is crazy. All right. Wow. This is crazy. This is crazy. All right. Let me see here. Can y'all see this? Let me move this back over. Maybe you can't see it well enough. Can I get this back like that? All right. Here we go. So, oh my God. This is just, all right. On Christmas Day. Yeah. Damn. Reached out to blank stating was dead and noticed she was found with her head blown off in Kiefer. Okay. Officers on the scene and stated there was no way it was a suicide. Coroner stated it was a suicide. Later. Stated from cocaine from Mexico. Okay, later. Okay. Later stated cocaine from a Mexican. Ghislaine. Okay. Damn, is this some... Yeah, this sounds like a conspiracy for real. Ghislaine, the last contact with Facebook a couple of weeks prior, put the family in danger. Blank explained with the date of birth committed suicide because had gotten drug cartel. Blank feels the murder is a cover for was after blank posted this information on called blank yelling that he had a third daughter named Note during report, he mentioned John Doe number 2. This is how it's written. If you're wondering why I'm reading it this way, this is how it's exactly written here with the thing I'm reading. Okay. It may not be exactly what you're saying, right? Because of the caricatures maybe didn't switch in the copy, all of them. Okay. During report, he mentioned John Doe. Number 2 was actually John, unclassified. Okay. Now this is another date. This is 2020. Okay. Nichols, W. Nichols, date of birth, who tried to originally set blank up for the bombing in Oklahoma City. What the fuck? Nichols worked security for Bill and Hillary Clinton as blank 8 at a place where Nichols worked security at the door. Okay. Nichols, Terry Nichols is, for those of you that don't know, Terry Nichols was a friend of Timothy McVeigh, and Timothy McVeigh is the guy who blew up the Oklahoma FBI building, right? And maybe, I don't know how many people, if they found out if it was 1 or 2 other people that conspired, helped them with the plan. But if I recall, I only remember him really paying the ultimate price. He had a death penalty, I believe. And but this was he got upset. He was an extremist, got upset that Bill Clinton was rounding up guns, right? Rounding up guns around the country. Not guns like in an extreme way, but just so people couldn't pile them up. Like this group, the David Koresh's group, I forget the something, whatever the name is, cult. It was a cult. You know, he thought he was the next Jesus, and he was sleeping with little girls himself, right? And he had wives and little girls, and they were stacking guns up, and so in Texas somewhere, right? Damn. Anyway, but this is weird. Security for Nichols worked security for Bill and Hillary Clinton as blank 8 at a place where Nichols worked security at the floor. Hillary walked up to blank drunk and began yelling as they asked blank to leave and fired Nichols, which led Nichols to attempt to set up blank for the bombing. This is weird. This is fucking weird, yo. This is fucking weird. This is some shit right here. This is some shit, yo. I had to say this. Please click the like button. That's how YouTube works. You know what I'm saying? I haven't been a podcaster that long, maybe a year, but click the like button because that's how you get it. I should have been saying this the whole time. That's how you get more people. If you think the content is interesting, then more people like you might hear it, right? And get engaged. That's how the algorithm works. But it sounds shameful to have to say that while reading some crazy shit like this. But in any case, that I said that now. This is fucked up. Yo, this is way beyond. I don't even know if I even need to watch legacy media today because I haven't heard any of them read this shit. This shit is fucking. I heard some small parts, only small parts of this shit, and the small parts are fucked up. But that ending, yo, what the fuck is going on with these people? What the fuck? Something not right, yo. So got a lot of strange things going on. A lot of strange. But in any case, the murder, the goddamn murder. Somebody got murdered. A girl got murdered is what they're saying in here. A girl got murdered. A girl got murdered, yo. That's what they're saying in here. A girl got murdered. That's what they're saying. I mean, I don't know what else to tell people, but a girl got murdered. Now, let me just look at the chat for a second. I don't know what to say, but this is what they wrote here. This is what they're writing. This is what's written. This is the internal communications of the FBI we're reading. This is some shit they talking about. That's crazy. This is way more than what they alluded to. You understand what I'm saying? This is way more. First of all, if you just leave out the Terry Nichols shit and you leave out the murder, this is still a bombshell. Just the fact that somebody pointed out Trump to have done it, that said they heard Trump bragging about it over the telephone with somebody, raping a girl, a minor. That's a bombshell. And they had lied and said they don't have any information implicating any other co-conspirators. They fucking lied, yo. They fucking lied. They lied. And apparently there's supposed to be 10 more. So let me see. Do y'all have some questions about what I just read? Yeah, do that. If you have any real questions, let me see. Cause maybe somebody said bullshit. Yo, okay, this is their thing. You could call it bullshit, but you ain't being descriptive enough. Like, are you saying the FBI is bullshit? Are you saying, what are you saying? I mean, you could, sure, if that's your response to this bullshit, okay, bullshit to you. No problem. You let it be bullshit to you. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just saying nobody told me about this shit. I wish. And here it is again. That's why I actually bothered to download this from the FBI, from the Department of Justice. Look, now for those of you that want to get the download here, by all means, please let me get this download for you. Put it here. Copy link address. I'm gonna put it in the chat for anybody who wants it. Link address. Then you can download it and you can read it yourself. Please do, by all means. I mean, this is the property of the American people here, by the way. So who would I be to not distribute the shit, right? You know what I'm saying? It's right there. So you can read it. You can call it bullshit. You can shove it up your ass for all I care. I don't give a fuck. But for the people that want to know what the FBI has been discussing, this might be something you might want to read for yourself. The rest of you that's just here for weird, freaky shit, you just go do what you do off on your own with it. Okay. But for me, I just read it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the fuck you going to do with it, but I got a shocker. And did I read this before just now? No. I looked it up, got the link, downloaded, and voila, well, look at this shit. This is some shit. This is bad. And first of all, anybody here support Trump? Come to the front of the room right now. Anybody here support Trump? Come to the front of the room so you can all get slapped. You deserve to get the shit slapped out of you because this man is dirty. This man is foul. Okay? And now, if you support this man, that you are capping for pedophiles yourself. Okay, so you want to be in that club? What type of person tries to argue for a fucking pedo? You don't understand. The FBI could have set him up. Like, what the fuck? These people be out here fucking capping, for Trump, for motherfucker. How do you cap for someone who has people writing this shit about him? Who has people like, look, how can you cap for somebody who has someone saying shit like this? Listen to this.
A party at Jeffrey Epstein's mansion. The first time that I met Donald Trump was at a party at Jeffrey Epstein's.
Yeah, so you gonna cap for somebody like that? Like, sorry, something's slow with you. If you gonna cap for somebody like that, something's not right. Look, exactly. Don't support. What the hell? Who? Thank you. Please, Lynn, don't support none of it. Look, it doesn't matter who you voted for. Forget the election. That was already happened. Forget it. You can't change the outcome of that. You already voted for this motherfucker. But at least admit now, at least at this point, reading this kind of shit, just at least at this fucking point, because how many times does it take someone to tell you they heard that Donald Trump either raped them, or that they heard Donald Trump say he raped somebody with Jeffrey Epstein, or they seen Donald Trump in a picture with some minors, or you heard Donald Trump saying, I didn't start stuttering when you ask him a question about rape. This motherfucker, Donald Trump is out there invading Greenland just because the Epstein files is getting released. I mean, goddamn, what the fuck? He is guilty. He is guilty. Okay, he's acting like a guilty person when confronted with real shit. You know what I'm saying? If you capping for his ass right now, you deserve your ass kicked. Like, for real. I'm serious. I'm not saying killed or anything like that. I'm just saying, yeah, maybe a foot in your ass, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, like, straight up, because this is bullshit. This is bullshit. And whoever is capping for him at this point just likes bullshitting people. And people ain't got all day for that bullshit in real life, yo. Like, straight up. This is foul. What Donald Trump has been said to have done is foul. Let me put the goddamn link in here again. Canadian, what's up, Canada? Look, you want to download that FBI file? You download it right there. There's the link, justice.gov. There it is. Because you're going to have a good old Christmas. I don't have to convince your ass of nothing. I'm not even trying to convince you. If you don't get the point at this point, fuck you. Okay? Like, really, straight up. And I mean that out of love. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What this shit? You can't be, if you capping for Trump right now, you cannot be taken serious. Oh, you can't get the source? Okay, hold on. Let me try to fix that. Something wrong with the source file? Okay, I'll tell you what. Let me do it this way. I could do it this way too. Copy. Better yet, let me go down here to the bottom. Is there? Let me do it this way. I think I can do it now. Copy. Copy link address. All right, let me put it in here. Hopefully it works now, y'all. If the last one didn't. Here we go. Boom. I think it worked. Yeah, link in the description. There you go. There's the link right there. Justice.gov. You can also type it in your in your browser. Right. But in any case, this is definitely crazy. This is crazy. And I don't know. Thanks, Bits. Thanks. Oh, I see you. I appreciate that. I don't know. Say thanks to Bits, everybody, for the memberships. Yeah, but I really think it's really horrible. But let's go now. I spent enough time on that. Let's go to see what Legacy Media has to say on this topic. And again, I'm glad I bothered to read the document because, oh my God, boy, because Legacy Media has not mentioned this yet. Not that part. Not the part where they talking about the murder. No, they maybe have made some brief references to it, but I haven't heard them mention that murder, and I haven't heard them mention. I only heard them mention the driver, I think. What else? But I definitely didn't hear them mention the Terry Nichols thing either. That's a little interesting. But here,
of thousands of its Jeffrey Epstein files by.
I'm just going to go through quickly. Legacy Media real quick and see what they've been reporting.
Last week's legal deadline and heavily redacting hundreds of pages it did publish. Democrat Ro Khanna and Republican Thomas Massie, who championed the new law requiring these documents be released, now saying they're drafting a House resolution to hold Attorney General Pam Bondi in contempt.
They're flouting the spirit and the letter of the law. It's very troubling, the posture that they've taken. And I won't be satisfied until the survivors are satisfied.
Overnight, multiple Epstein survivors say the DOJ has violated the law and are demanding immediate congressional oversight, including hearings. Survivors like Danny Bensky pressing the DOJ for more transparency.
We really didn't get to see as much as we wanted to. This was a law. The law was passed and they broke the law. That we only saw a very small fraction of what we needed to see.
The Justice Department also facing heat this morning for removing more than a dozen released images, citing victims' privacy concerns. One image taken down and later restored featuring President Trump, the DOJ saying it later determined no Epstein survivors were in the photo. Deputy Attorney General.
Yeah, that's crazy. So they removed it. There was something in there that they didn't like. And it seems like the professionalism, just in general, how they're reporting, like, I believe this was an accident. They didn't mean to release all that information. I believe this is FBI people going against Pam Bondi that released this shit because they wouldn't have allowed. This is too big of a blockbuster to allow. You see what I'm saying? I mean, it's obvious because I'm sorry, when somebody is making these kind of allegations, you cannot be president. You just can't be anymore. Like, there cannot be anyone out there. There cannot be a possible murder that occurred because of your actions and involving rape of a little girl and sex trafficking, and a little girl gets murdered. Sorry, Buster, there can be no congressional member or senator or anyone that allows this motherfucker to sit on the presidency. Like, that is way. Not that sex trafficking ain't foul, but what's in that thing, that little FBI transmission, is way foul. Like, way foul. Like, you're an embarrassment to the country. You're an embarrassment to law and order. You're an embarrassment to the FBI. You're an embarrassment to the CIA. You're a fucking embarrassment to any law enforcement in the country. Like, you cannot have a person like that being in the White House leading, let alone the fucking president. This is the epitome of letting the wolf lead the sheep. Like, straight up. This is like letting the wolf in the hen house. Like, I don't know how many of y'all read this. But listen, what we just read here, just as a refresher, is not pretty at all. Is not pretty at all. This document here that I put in the chat, it has murder in it of a little girl, right? That was under threat allegedly by Trump and Epstein, and yeah. One that got assaulted and then threatened and then died and allegedly was killed or possibly killed. One police officer thinks it could have been a murder. Some people think it could have been a murder. I'm talking about people that investigated it, that it could have been a murder. And then, do I need to even read this shit again? Like, this is so foul. Let me just read this one more time. This is terrible. This is what's in this document. And this shit ain't good. This shit ain't good at all. Taking her daughters up to see one. Okay, let me go to the top of it again. Let me see here. Yeah. Information related to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Blank provided the following information. Blank reported. Now this is this transmission is 2020, right? 2020. The 10th, and the day is the 27th of the 10th month of 2020. Okay, so 3:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, now reported around. Originally, this was reported. What they're about to account for is originally reported in 1997. He made a contact with Blank, whom he had known from 6 to 7 years prior, as they had a son together. Blank, and ended up dating. As explained, she was having money issues and problems with her daughters. Blank noted they were friends from before. During the contact in 1997, asked Blank how to spell Ghislaine numerous times, as noted she had taken her daughters up to see one of the supposed fathers who lived in Niagara Falls, New York. Recently date. Is that Donald Trump that living in Niagara Falls? I want to look into that. Who was that? Epstein had a home there? Okay. Recently, date of reported, she had met a lady who invited her daughters, right? Date of birth, right? To a fancy hotel and met Donald Trump and some of his friends in 1997. I'm guessing this is like a hotel with a penthouse. I don't know. Or hotel. Is it a casino hotel? Something like that. Who knows? But it sounds to me like this is, one of them OGs, right? Okay. Continued asking how to spell Ghislaine, implying Ghislaine had given her money and would give her additional money if needed, right? So she was she was pimping them out with the money, basically, allegedly, or what it sounds like to me, right? She was the bottom bitch, giving them money. Not to say these cruel words, but just to give you an idea of the scamming, the trafficking scheme, you know, how that's working. Like, you know, she's feeding them money, getting them everything they want. So whenever the time is that they call on them to do some action, they will think about, do I want to do it, or do I want to be left alone, you know, left behind, and nobody believe anything I say from that point on, even the police. Like, no one will believe, even if I told them this. So, and then a lot of times the people just go along with it. You see, on Christmas Eve, 1999, this is what's being reported, right? That's discussing, or the day prior, blank, over visiting his son, who he had with years prior, blank began talking to, as she seemed to be acting strange, and blank if he needed a ride home. Okay. And that's blank. Yeah, I don't know why it says and blank if he needed a ride home. Asked, you know, I'm not sure why they blanked out some of these words, but in any case, there's enough unblanked for you to be like, God damn. Asked blank. Okay, now this is another day. This is another year, 2021. I don't know if that's a file, if that's a mistake. File is mistake, I'm sorry, in Danish. Yeah, a file. Isn't that also English? Yeah, but in any case, it could be a typo here. But I don't think it is. It could be, though, because it's the same month. So I don't know. Maybe that's a typo. But in any case, here's the next part. Asked blank about his time driving a limousine for 2 years in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. During time as a driver, he had met Donald Trump. Blank noted, this is the driver, obviously. Blank noted he picked the president up in 1995 and took him to the DFW airport. Blank reported some of the things President Trump had spoken about during his ride while on his cell phone were very concerning. So the limousine driver is saying the shit I heard Trump talking about on the phone while Trump was on the phone talking to somebody else was concerning. He was overhearing it. Blank reported he was a few seconds from pulling the limousine over on the median, and within a few seconds of pulling him out of the car and hurting him. So he was going to hurt Trump due to some of the things he was saying, as caller chose not to. Okay, I don't know what that means, but in any case, blank noted Trump continuously stated the name Jeffrey. So whoever Trump was talking to, he kept also talking about Jeffrey. While on the phone, it made reference to abusing some girl. It was unsure who he was talking to, nor who he was referencing, as blank talked about his time meeting Donald Trump. Immediately, his demeanor started to change. The driver's demeanor started to change. Went stone cold as stated, he raped me. Said what as replied Donald J. Trump had raped her. Okay, so I think this is they're talking about so this is bits and pieces of what is in other documents, apparently. That's what it looks like to me. So they're referencing the concerning parts that they read in another document. FBI agents here. Internal communications. One informing the other about what they read in some prior documents. Right. So this is a summary. So I think I get it now. So part of that is maybe the limousine driver later, right, driving these girls. Right. Now, Trump had raped her along with Jeffrey Epstein, noted some girl with a funny name, took me to a fancy hotel. Right. So that's Ghislaine Maxwell. It sounds like hotel or building. That's how it happened. Right. Advised to call the police. Okay. Blank advised them to call the police. So the limousine driver advised them to call the police regarding the incidents. As stated, I can't, they will kill me. That's what the girl said. I can't. When the driver said, yo, you need to report this to the police, she's saying to the driver, I can't, they will kill me. Listen, if you ever encounter this yourself, do you know it's a crime to not go and tell the police this is what you heard? You're obliged by the law. You're obliged by the law to report this. You are obliged by the law to report this. And if you do not report this, you are committing a crime. I'm just letting people know in case some people aren't that adult to know what a fucking crime is. But when somebody says they will kill me and they tell you that they're making you do this, that's just a crime, goddammit. You have to report that. It doesn't matter if you believe her or not. But only an asshole wouldn't, by the way. Only a dumb motherfucker wouldn't believe her. Okay, goddamn. Some of y'all in the chat are like, weird. This is Donald Trump they talking about. This is Donald Trump they're talking about. In this FBI file. This is Donald Trump. Whew. Yeah. In any case, so she already said, like, I can't. They'll kill me. On Christmas Day, contacted blank stated she had in fact called the police. So even though she thought, I can't, they'll kill me, she went ahead and called the police anyway. Right? And then later told the driver about blank. Okay. Blank told she had done, okay. And the driver told her she had done good. Did not hear. Okay. Blank did not hear from her until the 1st of 2000. Reached out to blank stating, what? Someone, blank, did not hear from her. Okay. Reached out to blank stating was dead and noted she was found with her head blown off and Kiefer. What is Kiefer? Okay, officers on the scene stated there was no way it was a suicide. Are y'all hearing that? The officer said it's no way it was a suicide. The officer on the scene, this is what is being said in this FBI document, where one FBI agent is discussing it with another, and he's speaking about accounts of mentions of Donald Trump in other documents. Yeah, this is crazy. Stated there was no way it was a suicide. Coroner stated it was a suicide. Later stated cocaine from a Mexican Ghislaine, the last contact with Facebook a couple of weeks prior. So Ghislaine Maxwell was the last contact on Facebook a couple of weeks prior. Is that what that means? Oh, that contact put her family in danger, it says here. Blank explained date of birth, right? So that child explained, or whoever blank is explained, committed suicide because had gotten drug cartel. Okay, it's not clear what they're saying here, but it's kind of choppy. But in any case, yeah, it doesn't even matter. This is fucked up. This is fucked up right here. Okay, so Fields' murder is a cover, right? Is a cover for, right, exactly, for what had happened. Okay, so yeah, posted this information calling blank, yelling that he had a third daughter named, okay. Note during report mentioned John Doe number 2 was actually John. Okay, originally, okay, now this is okay, in 2020, back to 2020, another part of the communication, who tried to, okay, W. Nichols date. Okay, so this is back to the Oklahoma bombing here. Yeah, there's something mentioned in that about Hillary Clinton and Nichols used to working for her, and then him being fired, and then, you know, him resenting Hillary Clinton. But in any case, yeah, now I'm just going to go back to this legacy media. Sorry for that little drift back to that. But I realized like people still coming in and maybe didn't hear the beginning. So let's continue.
Todd Blanche telling our Pierre Thomas more files will be released soon and insisting there is no effort to protect the president.
President Trump has certainly said from the beginning that he expects all files that can be released to be released. And that's exactly what we're doing.
Documents released on Friday's deadline include never-before-seen images investigators obtained searching Epstein's possessions, including several showing Trump's political opponents, like photos of former President Bill Clinton and Epstein together. But no Epstein survivor has ever accused Clinton of wrongdoing. A Clinton spokesperson writing, "This is about shielding the White House from what comes next, or what they'll try and hide forever." In a series of interviews with Vanity Fair, White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles said President Trump, who had a decades-long friendship with Epstein before they had a falling out in the mid-2000s, does come up in the DOJ's total Epstein files, but not, quote, doing anything awful. The Department of Justice says more files will be released in the coming...
It's bullshit. That's not doing anything. So that's not an allegation about Trump doing something awful, you know? Yo, do me a favor, yo, click the like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my channel before, but it helps more people get the algorithm right and get the message and see the video. Let this continue. Here we go.
Days and weeks, Gio.
So many details in the story, and Jay, you've been...
All right, so that is bizarre. Now let me see Chris Hayes. Let's see what Chris Hayes had to say about this.
New.
Boom.
What can you tell us about that?
It's a really good lead.
New revelations and new questions after the DOJ releases thousands of new Epstein documents. Why were the names of 10 co-conspirators redacted by DOJ?
It does seem like President Trump himself has left fingerprints all over this question.
Attempt to...
I think it's the greatest thing.
So there's co-conspirators, right? That's 10 co-conspirators. So I don't know if that even includes Trump. But 10, you could imagine there's obviously more, but they know at least of 10 apparently. And why Kash Patel and Bondi make it sound like it's the exact opposite, like we ain't seen nothing in there strange at all in those files, otherwise we would tell you. Basically, that's basically what they said. That's crazy. That is so crazy.
Window period where they could upload the files. They had a deadline. But this now brings the total number of files released to over 30,000. And the main impression as folks try to make sense of it all, including in our newsroom, is that it feels like once again we're being kind of sprayed with a fire hose of sewage. I mean, it's full of mistakes and omissions, questionable redactions, even salacious allegations from...
somebody said you said I read 44 Republicans have resigned from Congress. I wonder why. I mean, is it 44 officially that have resigned? I mean, are they still holding their seats, or did they give the seats up too officially? Let me know.
Line. Some documents have been disappearing from the DOJ's webpage after they were published, and Trump's people seem to be happy to make a mess of it all. In fact, that sort of seems like the point. I mean, keep in mind the context here, right? They hate the law that Congress passed, forcing them to release the files. They fought it tooth and nail. They hate the concept of transparency. And Trump has been very clear that he would prefer to protect people. Well, some and not others.
I don't like the pictures of Bill Clinton being shown. I don't like the pictures of other people being shown. I think it's a terrible thing. I think Bill Clinton's a big boy. He can handle it. But you probably have pictures being exposed of other people that innocently met Jeffrey Epstein many years ago, and they're, highly...
I mean, basically, who would go to this extent, to always argue against the releasing of the files? Like, Trump tries to do it like in this kind of passe kind of way, like he's not really bothered, but yet he always argues against it. And he's supposed to be, worried about other people. When it comes to rape, sex trafficking, molestation, murder, that too, you're not supposed to be capping for other people. Trump is literally out here capping for other people. And it sounds like he's capping for the co-conspirators. I mean, look, isn't that what it sounds like? Because why would he be out here carrying himself? Why don't he just say, I don't know, got nothing to do with me. Release all the files. If that's what they want, no problem. Get it over with. Thank you. And please do so immediately. Right? But he's not. He's up here telling you why he thinks some of it ain't right. I don't think it's okay to do that. I mean, it's unfair. Basically is what he's saying. Come on. He's basically taking a position that a person who is guilty would also take. I'll put it to you that way. This is crazy.
Bankers and lawyers and others.
Won't someone think of the bankers and lawyers? As congresspeople from both sides have been saying, protecting a bunch of bankers or lawyers because they're highly respected is violating both the spirit and the letter of the law. Again, you could disagree with the law, but Donald Trump signed that into law. And despite all that, there are some really valuable pieces.
All right, look, let's just separate the despicable people in the chat from the decent people. Put a 1 in the chat if you believe Trump is innocent. Put a 2 in the chat if you believe he's goddamn guilty. And I want everybody in the chat to reply. I'm going to be looking. 1 if he's innocent, 2 if he's guilty. 1 if Trump is innocent, 2 if Trump is guilty. Okay, so there we go. There's I just want everybody to identify themselves so you can see who you're dealing with, okay? You know, you got some people in here that's capping for pedophiles, basically sex traffickers and all kinds of shit. You know what I mean? And this is exactly what they would be saying. I hope you realize when somebody say, you know, when something comes into, you know, comes to be a problem, you know, and you see people capping like this, and remember, you was the one too capping, you know. Look, first of all, you can never know if someone else did it. You can never know. If you know them personally, maybe, but even, can you really even know that? Is that how, I mean, if you know somebody really, really well, maybe you could say you believe they innocent. But at this point, why? Why would you give a fuck? Why would you be sitting up here trying to make reasons why he's fucking innocent after all of this goddamn information comes out? Like, that is weird. That's really, really weird. I wouldn't even cap for a fucking friend. Nobody, period. I don't care. You rape little kids, motherfucker. I don't take your side. I'm not out there in the world telling people you innocent. I'm out there in the world saying, I don't know. You better talk to that man. you better talk to him. I'm not telling you no, he's innocent. Like, unless I know that person is innocent, like personally. But if you don't even know. Now, next question. Who's ever met Donald Trump? Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever met Donald Trump. Put a 2 in the chat if you've never met Donald Trump. Let's see. Let's see how many of the people that put a 1 in the chat that think he's innocent ever met his ass before. I mean, that is such a weird ass thing to say. You know, you think he's innocent? What the fuck? You never met the motherfucker. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, you capping for a fucking could be seriously looking like goddamn pedophile and you never even met him? You look weird. You look weird. Like, straight up. Like, goddamn, I never seen that go on anywhere. Like, what the fuck, man? Don't be doing that shit around me. Don't be hanging around me. You think that way? You up here capping? You stay away from me. Stay. Get back. Don't come near. You ain't even coming around. You won't be around the club. What the fuck? You not let in the door, motherfucker, let alone around anything around me. Like, goddamn, I don't want to know you. Don't want to know shit about you. Like, goddamn, you are weird. You weird, y'all.
Of information the public is learning from the files once we kind of separate the wheat from the chaff. Today, for instance, we learned that during Trump's...
Yeah, you goddamn right. I see you. You right, Bits. You right.
First term, this is back in January 2020, an assistant U.S. attorney wrote an internal email about a review of flight records as part of the government's case against Epstein accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell, who has subsequently been transferred.
Okay, right. So they told everybody, they put out that list of flight records for all that time, but actually they knew that he had been on more plane rides with Jeffrey Epstein. They knew that. And let me tell you, if you want to let a man hang himself, then you pretend like you don't know, basically, right? And just let him out there. But I'm pretty sure everybody knew. That doesn't mean technically you could convict him. Maybe you're still investigating him. I mean, you know, to me, it sounds like this murder, these things will be investigated. Now that they're out, they will be investigated. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sorry, it is outrageous. The things that are being said, they are outrageous. I don't know if you heard, how many of you heard, but in one of these FBI documents, the one we just read, the one in the beginning, in the opener, they're saying that Trump or Epstein or one of them killed a girl to keep her quiet. Someone that they sexually assaulted. That's what is in one of those FBI documents, like in FBI communications. Like, that is crazy. That is crazy. And there is no statute of limitation on murder. There's no statute of limitation on murder. So, but it said it. It said it. And matter of fact, do I even have the document here? This is for people that want to read it. There you go. Read it yourself. Boom. It's in the chat. It's from the Justice Department. It's up on their website. Feel free to yeah, he said, yeah, exactly, Lynn. Listen, he said all kinds of shit. Anybody, people that make excuses for Donald Trump make excuses for rapists and pedophiles and sex traffickers. That's really what it is. It doesn't matter who you are and why you're doing it. You're making excuses for this at this point. If you never met a man and you like, no, after all of this shit, it's like, well, damn, you would never believe anyone ever did this. That's what that is. You would never believe anybody. You may as well just go and say, let all the rapists and the pedos free from prison. Let them all go.
To a low security prison after talking to Trump's attorney, Todd Blanche.
Yeah, there's no statute of limitation on child assault also now. That's true. Good point.
And this is what the email says. For your situational awareness, wanted to let you know that the flight records we received yesterday reflect that Donald Trump traveled on Epstein's private jet many more times than previously has been reported or that we were aware, including during the period we would expect to charge in a Maxwell case, the email states. In other words, during a period in which crimes were being committed.
You hear that? So he was associating with them while in the period these crimes were being committed. So that's sad. I mean, come on now. How many of you still think he ain't do nothing? He's still associating with them during the time that they try. And look, and he even said he wasn't associating with the ass. What kind of bullshit is this? You know what I'm saying? Like, let me hear this again.
The government's case against Epstein accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell, who has subsequently been transferred to a low security prison after.
All right, let me see if I can see this file real quick. What does it say? It says, okay, situational awareness, wanted to let you know that the flight records, okay, they discussed this in 2020 also, the FBI, right? This is Wednesday, the 8th, January 2020. Wow. So this is Trump's. This they're discussing this during Trump's presidency. Look at this. Look, for your situational awareness, wanted to let you know that the flight records we received yesterday reflect that Donald Trump traveled on Epstein's private jet many more times than previously has been reported. Damn. And this is during, okay, this is 1993, 96. They're saying that. But this, okay, so that's good. But they're saying this in 2020, his own FBI, because he didn't get into, when is this, 2020? Biden didn't come into office until the 20th of January. This is the 8th of January. So this is under Trump, essentially, right? I mean, that's what it sounds like to me, And yeah, but in any case, let's let it play some more. Let's let it play.
Talking to Trump's attorney, Todd Blanche. And this is what the email says. For your situational awareness, wanted to let you know that the flight records we received yesterday reflect that Donald Trump traveled on Epstein's private jet many more times than previously has been reported or that we were aware, including during the period we would expect to charge in a Maxwell case, the email states. In other words, during a period in which crimes were being committed. The email added that Trump had been on at least 8 Epstein flights. On
DP,
one flight in
what's up?
1993, he and Epstein are the only 2 listed passengers. On another, the only 3 passengers are Epstein, Trump, and then 20-year-old redacted. That seems like a justified redaction there. Remember what Trump said last year on social media, quote, "I was never on Epstein's plane or at his stupid island"?
Yep.
That appears to be patently false, right? We also learned over the weekend.
Okay, so how many of you are okay with Trump lying? If it's okay for Trump to lie about this, I mean, I guess many of you who cap for Trump will probably say he's not lying. He just forgot. I mean, he's just old. He just forgot. He didn't mean to. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's obvious that nothing Trump has said has turned out to be true. You know, and that's horrible when other people are telling truths or saying that you've done bad things, and you keep saying excuses like, "Nah, I never did that. I was nowhere near it," and then you find out later, he was somewhere near it, and he could have done it. And when that happens time and time again, at some point you just learn you may as well just believe people what they're saying and stop trying to fight it off and look for
Epstein
excuses.
had 10 alleged co-conspirators. This is probably the biggest piece of news to come out of these documents today. So in another email, this one from 2019, the day after Jeffrey Epstein was charged with child sex trafficking by the feds, an FBI employee asked a colleague for, quote, an update on the status of the 10 co-conspirators.
Zena.
Now, this email also shows
It's not okay, Zena. It's not. But the MAGA people, there's something about them trying to molest the public, because this is like molestation. Ultimately, this is like being groomed. They try to groom the public to accept lies. It's okay. Always making excuses for poor behavior, lies, deceit. Like really, this is some weird shit. And I'm gonna tell you, people that try to convince Trump, try to convince you to just go along with the lie, keep believing him and keep believing him. They're part of the groomers. They part of the groomers themselves. They shouldn't do that. Somebody might hurt you for doing that too, because that's some nasty shit to do. That repulses people. Like, stop making excuses for Trump.
Incompetent or possibly malign nature of DOJ's redaction efforts, or at least as yet unexplained. Some of the co-conspirator names were redacted, and that would appear to be a violation of the law under almost all circumstances. You can't redact someone's name just because they might suffer embarrassment or reputational harm, even though Donald Trump thinks you should. The law explicitly says you can't. Yep. But then, in the same document, some names aren't redacted at all.
Yep.
As Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer said in a statement today, the Department of Justice needs to shed more light on who was on the list, how they were involved, and why they chose not to prosecute. There's also the case of a heavily redacted court filing quoting an Epstein survivor. That survivor claims that another friend of hers was one of the many girls that had sexual relations with Redacted. She confided to me about her casual friendship with Redacted. Redacted definitely seemed to have a thing for her, and she told me how he kept going on about how he liked her pert nipples.
All right, hold on. Let me see something here. Even though that's disgusting, I just want to get a close look at this before I let me see. Another friend was one of the many girls that had relations with blank. That sounds like two names. Donald Trump. She confided in me. Listen, look at this. This is ridiculous. She confided in me about her casual friendship with blank. Okay. Okay, that's a two-name person also. Definitely seemed to have a thing for her, and she have a thing for her. Haven't you heard people say that about Trump? They've always said he has a thing for young blondes, little blondes, right? Right? People that look like his daughter. Isn't that what people have said? That's what, whether you believe the people or not, that is what they have said. And I believe them. And some of you punk asses probably don't, Some of you weirdos out there. Here, and she told me how he kept going on about how he liked her pert blanks. Blank liked flicking and and essing her fangs, until they were raw. Damn, what the yeah. Okay. Yo, man. I'm just this is to me, I just think this thing about the murder is enough. Like, they need to impeach this guy right now. They need to impeach him. He is no damn good for anybody. He's not good for the country. And it's not good for other people to have had this information. Now, listen, the people that got the discharge petition out, I applaud you. Thank you very much. Everybody down with that discharge petition who signed that discharge petition, Thank you so much, because at least the public gets the information and gets to judge for themselves. And that's all people really wanted, was the right to judge for themselves, right? To see what the issue really is about, right? Instead of listening to what someone else's opinion is. When you get the information, you can read it for yourself. You can read it for yourself. I mean, I'm reading the shit for myself. You can read it for yourself. Hey, V, the chat is requesting you copy and paste to remove the blackout. Check the chat for, the blackout. Is there a blackout? Let me see something. Let me see something here. Sorry about that. What's going on here? You mean on the link? Okay, won't look at the unredacted file, so he can simply states. But no, I put the link to the unredacted file, silly. We already started off reading them. You missed that, blood. And why don't you take your time like I do before I make an opinion? You know what I mean? I think long and hard and study pretty long and hard before I come to any type of conclusion myself, my opinion myself. Now, just because I have an opinion doesn't mean I rush to it. You see, like you did with me. Okay, so, and like I said, stop capping for Donald Trump. That's a bad look. You know, you mad because I got an opinion about Donald Trump? What the fuck is wrong with you? Don't you got better people to defend? Like, Jesus. Let me see here, man. Like, that's weird. Like, I never seen anybody capping. More people cap for Donald Trump than they do anybody else. Hey, Bits, were you talking about the link to the actual file? Is that the one you're talking about? You said a block. I'm still trying to figure out what that means. Oh yeah, let me do that right now. I'm going to put the link in the bio. Hold on, let me do that. No problem, y'all. 2 seconds. I can easily do that. Yeah, it's something. I don't know what it is about the chat for some reason, but let me put that over here real quick. I'm not going to put it in the bio. I'm going to put it. Oh, you mean the bio in the chat? Is that what you mean? I'm going to put the link up on the page. Let me see here. Post. Boom. Okay, it's the first link on the post part of the YouTube page here. Let me go back now, and I'm gonna also put it in the bio here real quick, up in the chat for folks too. Yeah, sorry about the confusion, y'all. Let me see, 2 seconds and it'll be up. I appreciate everybody coming out. I'm gonna play a few more of these reactions from Legacy Media. Now, if I post it right here, boom, and then I say pin. Can I pin it to the chat? Let me see here. Pin. Oh, it's right here. Pin. There we go. It's the pin message now. It's at the top. So see if that link will work. Also, if not, go to the posting area on the YouTube page, and it's there now. So I appreciate that, y'all. So thanks for telling me also, Bits, and thanks for everybody else's patience. All right, let's play some more of this.
But in another data set released by the DOJ, that same document appears without any edits or redactions at all. And guess what? The unredacted name of the man in question is Donald Trump's. Now, it's not clear why his name was redacted from the other file they released. And remember, an allegation is not evidence of a crime. And in this case, it's not even clear she's making an allegation of a crime. Either way, the redaction, though, appears to plainly violate not just the law, but kind of the whole point of the law, right? That was the whole point of the law. Release the files, all of them, let us see it all, and let people figure it out. So, we're learning things as best we can tell when we kind of get into the details. But also at the same time, in many ways, the bigger story is the ham-fisted nature of the cover-up that continues to be happening here, in plain view. Like the photo of Trump in Epstein's desk that got published in the first set of Epstein files last week. Then it was inexplicably taken down over the weekend, only to be, wait for it, reposted yesterday after a massive public backlash against the administration. DOJ says they took it down briefly to make sure its release didn't endanger any victims. Maybe true. Slightly hard to take this Department of Justice and this administration at face value when they make those claims. there are, it appears, a whole host of just incredibly messy attempts at manipulation of the information that Trump's government is required to share with us by law. They are on one way sort of hiding a bunch of stuff. They're also flooding the zone with garbage, trying to cover up some stuff and protect some people, specifically one guy, which is, of course, how they treat everything. Why? Who knows? Maybe they really have something incredibly damning to hide. Maybe they
At this point, it's past maybe. No, I'm sorry. They have definitely shit that is incredibly damning to hide. What's up with, that's what I mean. Like, even, I don't know why they just don't read that part that is in that FBI filing about the murder. That shit, I'm sorry, that right there, yo, that right there is way, all of this shit is way serious, but that's way too serious to miss in news reporting. I'm not dissing Chris Hayes, and I'm not dissing anybody. I understand maybe there's legal issues. I don't know what it is about. I have no fucking clue what that's about. But I think people should take Chris Hayes' advice and, like, you know, take this matter serious, because there's a lot of bad shit in there. And I think if you read some of it yourself, like I bothered to read one of these documents, yo, that shit is way worse. That shit is horrible. It's horrible.
have nothing but contempt for the public.
Yeah, Fox ain't news. What the hell? They sat up there and got Trump elected. They capped for Trump's lying ass for how long? And now they want to distance themselves from Trump. Nah, you got to eat Trump. You got to own Trump. What the hell? Don't you better stick with Trump, Fox News. We don't want you anymore. Y'all done fucked up the country with no ethics, no morals. You know what I mean? News media is really just supposed to be unbiased, and they went way past that part. They were like, not only are we going to be right news media, but we're going to be only biased for Trump. Like, they made a complete loser look like a saint. They made a dude who was looking like a pedophile murderer, a murderer of a little child who just wanted to tell the truth about what happened to her. They making it look like they rather support someone like that than any one of you in the chat, than any other decent person in America. Like, they picked the most horrible person, seemingly, you know, if what is alleged is true, and a whole lot is alleged, they picked the most horrible candidate to put their support behind. And that is just ratchet. Like, it's almost like they wanted to destroy the country, something. I don't know if these people even think that far ahead of what the actions they take. Who knows? You know, sometimes it can look like a conspiracy, and sometimes it's just a bunch of dumbass people that don't think before they act and just always do the wrong thing, always jeopardize your life, always jeopardize your safety over and over just out of not thinking. But this shit is just fucking horrible. It's horrible. Faith, how you doing? Yeah, they need to just shut fucking Fox News down. You know,
Maybe
just
both.
shut it down.
Lisa Rubin is a senior legal reporter for MS Now, and she joins me now. Lisa, this has been a heck of a story to try to parse and report out. It is extremely difficult because there's so much. There's a lot of confusion. There's stuff.
Yeah, yo, hold on. You got to see this one. Even Nicki Minaj. He said, even Nicki Minaj is against us. So fucking what? Fuck Nicki Minaj, man. What the hell? She capping for the KKK? You know, she played herself. Nicki Minaj fell down and she ain't getting back up. She is not getting back up. It's a perfect example of that mind state also. Like, when these people fall, they fall fucking hard, like really hard.
Stuff that's been previously reported. So I want to just let's start on a few things that seem concrete and vetted and established. Let's start with that email about the flight records, which does seem to be like a real thing with real evidence and actually new. What can you tell us about that?
So, Chris, I want to be cautious about the flight logs and about the email you were referring to about the alleged co-conspirators. And let me start by saying, you know probably better than anyone that where it comes to Donald Trump, I have not had hesitation about calling him someone who has committed sexual abuse because I sat through both E. Jean Carroll trials. But where it comes to, for example, the flight logs email, the phrase that starts the email, for your situational awareness, and the date of the email suggests to me that something here is going on that might be different than someone suggesting Donald Trump has some complicity here. What might be happening here is that Donald Trump is the president in the run-up to the indictment of Jeffrey Epstein.
Yep.
And it may be that the prosecutor who sent this email, and we believe it is a prosecutor, is alerting colleagues, including more senior colleagues in the Department of Justice.
Yeah, that's exactly how those inner communications sound. Like I was just saying, this happened under Trump. January 8th, Trump is the president still. Biden doesn't come in until January 20th of 2021? Something like that. 21, 22, 23, 24. Right. Something like that, right? So, but those emails are just before. So Jan 8th, that's 2 days after Jan 6th, y'all. That's good context that she's bringing up. But in any case, it's true. You have to see it in that light. But that, to me, that's not really a difficult leap to understand. Yeah, the guy, it sounds like they're communicating. It sounds like they're warning other FBI agents that, yo, we found out something about Trump that we didn't know before. You see that, and they're alerting people to it. But somehow Trump is pretending like he didn't have any clue. Like, who did anyone alert him of what's known about him in those files?
Justice.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm letting you know that this evidence is out there because when we indict Jeffrey Epstein and we expect him to fight with a vigorous defense, as he did years ago in Florida, he will likely find these records and throw them in everyone's faces. And I want to make sure you, SDNY leadership, you, Main Justice leadership, we can't tell because we don't know exactly who the email is to, but that may be the context in which this email was sent, rather than, hey, look at what Donald Trump did. And I want to urge folks to be cautious about the things we don't know right now.
Yeah, they're from the document that I read, they're talking about other documents that they've read. That's what they're talking about. We're not the documents that got released so far are not the original documents. And that's clear. That's obvious. That's clear. But they're still troubling. You know, there's FBI agents talking about what they have read from other documents or what they have learned from other documents. You see what I mean? They're speaking. So I don't get what the issue is there. People should take note of that, of course. But yeah, but it's still damaging and it's still way past, this is horrible information. This is I'm sorry, but listen, for people that miss this, one of the documents in it has an allegation about Donald Trump or Jeffrey Epstein or both of them killing a little girl who was scared to go to the police, who told a limousine driver what had happened to her, and the limousine driver advised her to go to the police. And she said to the limousine driver, I can't, they will kill me. And then she got the courage to go and tell the police anyway. And then they found the girl dead some years later, like 2 or 3 years later. That's what I read in that document. And everybody can see it right up here. It's pinned to the top of the chat. And you can read that for yourself. If you haven't read it, then hey, that's on you. But it's there. I just pinned it in there. It's been pinned for a minute. The chat requested that I pin it. It's also on the posting page of the YouTube, where you could put up websites and things like that or different posts, right? You could go over to that portion of the page and check it out. The link is there also. This is not good for Donald Trump, and this is not good for the United States of America. Because, you can start to paint a picture of who this person is. And let me tell you, this person is not healthy. The person that they're describing is not a healthy person. The person they're describing should not be running anything and should not be around kids, number one, and should not be in charge of anything. Like, the person that they have described is a dangerous individual. Like, straight up, a dangerous individual. Like, not a normal person. You're talking about a sick person. with a whole lot of goddamn money, who has some little girl saying, I can't tell the police, they will kill me. That's what's being described in that download link. That's the Justice Department's own link. So that can't be under, you can't just toss that away. There is a girl, allegedly, who told a limousine driver that she cannot tell the police what happened because they will kill her. Do you understand how foul that is to back up any person like that? You see, that is, if you are a person that's backing up Donald Trump, you are a fucked up person. You are a fucked up individual, and you should not be around people yourself. You should be in fucking jail. Like, straight up. Don't let anybody who caps for Donald Trump at this point around anything where there's any kids, anything of any value. That person is a sick person that can't face the fact that something is fucked up about Donald Trump, like really bad. This is not a normal person. This ain't a normal person. By the way, his what is it? White House chief of staff said what did she say? She said he's like he reminds her of an alcoholic, how he behaves. Yes, it's something not right with the dude. He behaves like an alcoholic, and they say he doesn't even drink, but he behaves like that. I don't know if that's dementia that she's talking about when she's saying behaves like an alcoholic, but I'm saying it like whatever it is with him, he might have dementia now, but what he had back before is just plain crazy, like plain I can grab them. Let me grab them. Like, have you all heard of the letter? Let me let this shit play. There's a letter they saying that Jeffrey Epstein wrote, where he says he wrote to, what's this guy, NASA the guy who was the coach of the girls Olympic team. I don't know. Was it the gymnastics team? I don't know. Was it the gymnastics team? And saying that he raped, this guy raped a lot of these girls now. And Jeffrey Epstein wrote a letter to him just before he, quote unquote, allegedly committed suicide, right? Or allegedly was killed, whatever. Nobody knows if the letter is real or whatever, but they're saying it could very well be real. But the guy mentions in the letter, for some reason in this letter that the FBI had, right? For some reason it says, and the Bureau of Prisons had this letter too. So somebody got it in their system. And inside of that letter to this guy, Nasser, Jeffrey Epstein is basically saying, yeah, Donald Trump, he's like us. He likes to grab them. He likes to snatch them. Talking about little girls while they're young. Like, straight up. Like, this is what we're talking about. You cannot, anybody who caps for that behavior is sick. Something is wrong with you. And please watch your kids around that person that caps for Donald Trump. Watch your kids around them. Like, straight up.
Okay, so I think that's the plain reading of that email, of the context. Basically, here's a heads up, this might blow up. The guy's the president. But it is also the case that that we didn't know, right? I mean, he's denied being on the plane. This seems to be 9 instances of him being on the plane at a time that the U.S. government says crimes were being committed, right? That by itself does not mean Donald Trump is guilty of a crime or even one is alleged. Lots of people flew on that plane, quite notoriously, but this is a new piece of information about that, it would appear.
Sure. And I think the most concrete piece of information that's new for us, we've known for some time that Donald Trump has flown on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, right? That is publicly available information. But the context here that Trump was on the plane at the same time as two prospective witnesses in an ongoing criminal case, or what's soon to be a criminal case, is I think something we didn't know before.
Right. So he's on the plane with Epstein, just Epstein and him, and two of the witnesses for the Ghislaine Maxwell case, people that are testifying against her, i.e., likely little girls. You see what I'm saying? So what does that imply? I mean, you tell me. Donald Trump didn't seem to remember he was on that plane. And would you cap for him if he can't remember? You see what I'm saying? Yeah, 2 victims. Exactly. I mean, that's what you could get out of it. You see what I'm saying? Exactly. 2 victims. Obviously, yeah. She doesn't say there were victims, but she calls them witnesses. But, you know, okay, even if they're witnesses. But the point is that Donald Trump lied about it. Didn't even mention it. You see what I'm saying? And you know that the witnesses were basically girls, victims, right? I mean, you know that. What are they? You know, plenty of them have, some of their depositions have gotten out. Some of their words they've spoken on record. Some of them already. So people have heard some of their stories already. You know, you may not remember their names exactly, but many of them went public already. So yeah.
And something that makes us further ask the question: what did Donald Trump know about Jeffrey Epstein, and when did he know it? That doesn't make him criminally responsible.
Hey. Look, somebody in here, American Muscle, said, try turning off your location hub. Look, American Muscle, you think I'm really scared of somebody that leaves a comment like that? No, man, you're a little bitch ass. Why don't you be a real man and do whatever you have to do and don't talk about it, okay? Like, really. Like, you know, a real man ain't going to talk about it, you stupid ass. What do you want to get caught by the police, you bitch? You know, stop wasting people's time. Okay, you little stupid fuck. Now let me go and block your ass, because I'm not playing with you. If I got a problem with you and I think you're a threat to me, I'm going to fuck you up. All right. Now, lucky I don't. But in any case, you're not going to be around here playing games. Go get a new YouTube address and come back in the chat if you want, you little bitch. Yeah.
But complicity comes in all sorts of varieties. And Trump has said himself, he kicked.
Excuse me, y'all. Excuse me, y'all. But you see, just to let people know, I have the right to my opinion. You ain't going to do a goddamn thing about my opinion. Okay. And if you out here capping for Donald Trump, threatening to hurt me because I'm talking about Donald Trump, you are a petty bitch ass. Like, you are a weirdo. Like, straight up.
Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago
capping
because
for
he
Donald
was
Trump.
Coaching staff and being inappropriate with girls who are on his staff.
He about to hurt somebody for Donald Trump out here and shit. What the fuck?
That begs the question: if Trump knew that something awry was going on with Jeffrey Epstein, why didn't he alert authorities?
Yeah, Merry Christmas, y'all. Merry Christmas.
Less the public.
The other big email in this.
You know, they just can't let a man be accused of pedophilia and not cap for him. They about to hurt a motherfucker. Like, damn.
Here is about these idea of co-conspirators. And again, this appears to be, I think, as far as we can tell, it's real. It's a real discussion between actual principals who would have a way of knowing. I mean, there's always been at the center of this story, right? A notion, a supposition, often many of the survivors.
Now, you don't worry, y'all. You could don't get me wrong. It's like you could disagree with what I'm saying, but the moment you come out here and you're gonna make a threat to me, I'm gonna block you. And then also on top of that, I wish you would, because you will lose your fucking life in reality trying to confront me like that. So just get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Just because I'm a nice, decent person won't mean I won't fuck you up in a flash. You ever try to hurt me in reality. You see what I mean? You're going to find out a spark is going to hit your ass. Like, you know, but in any case, I'm going to block anybody. Anybody else want to threaten me and be blocked? Who else? Threaten me. Threaten my life. Let me block your ass right now. Or you can watch the show and enjoy. Just let me see one. Go ahead. No problem. I don't have to put up with no threats from nobody. Oh, here we go. So here we go. Let's see here. If you think I'm weak, come and find out. That's all I got to say. Otherwise, what are you talking about? You know, anyway, let's go. Let's go.
Have said this.
You're a cornball out here threatening people because somebody's giving a critique of Donald Trump. You couldn't be any lower of a human being. Like, what is weaker than that? What is weaker than that?
Right?
Like, damn.
Sometimes they've said, I can't say
People
who it
got
is.
that weak?
Sometimes they say, I just know, you know, that there were other men that essentially Jeffrey Epstein trafficked the victims to. And they were powerful men, they were wealthy men. The Todd Blanche, you know, the note from DOJ, the big thing they say is there was no list, right? Among many things. Case closed, there was no list. So now we have an email that says, can you tell me about the 10 alleged co-conspirators? What do we know about the context of this document?
You know, I was listening to you talk about the people whose names are redacted and are not. And my recollection, you know, not having the email right in front of me, I can.
Exactly. They talking about they nonviolent. MAGA's nonviolent movement. Yeah, they all they do is threaten people. It's like, goddamn, you threatened me. I'm all the way over here in Denmark. But don't get it twisted. Do not get it twisted. Like, for real, I'm not taking any type of garbage. I mean, not, you know, listen, MAGA people, stop thinking that you can physically force people to do what you want. Stop thinking you can use violence to get your way. Trust me, it's not going to work. Just because people don't want to hurt you doesn't mean they can't defend themselves gladly. Okay, I will gladly defend myself against any of you lunatics, and I'm going to walk down the street every goddamn day happy. Okay, and I'm not going to think nothing about defending myself at all. I'm going to do it fast. Okay, on at first thought, you know what I mean? Without even a blink. You see what I'm saying? But why do you have to go around threatening people, man? You're so pathetic.
You see it on the screen to one side of my face, is that Ghislaine Maxwell's name and the name of Les Wexner, who was one of Jeffrey Epstein's largest clients, if not the largest source of his wealth, are not redacted, and yet you have a number of other names redacted. And I want to suggest to you sort of a third possibility here, because two things can be true at once. It may be the case that there are men whose names are redacted in this email alongside those of women who the Department of Justice understands differently today than they might have at the time that this email was written. And specifically, the Department of Justice has a policy that where sex trafficking is concerned, if a person is both a victim of one person and also an alleged perpetrator with respect to other victims, the policy of the department is to treat that person as a victim. And I want to name one person in particular about whom we learned more today from some of the other emails. There is a woman who was named in Jeffrey Epstein's 2007 non-prosecution agreement as one of his co-conspirators. That insulated her from prosecution by the Southern District of Florida at that time. We've learned today that that woman is now represented by Brad Edwards, who is perhaps the best known of all of the survivors' lawyers. I can tell you for sure she was not represented by Brad Edwards at the time that things went down in the Southern District of Florida. And that suggests to me that this woman, again, named by Epstein as a co-conspirator, and that sweetheart deal, the non-prosecution agreement, is seen very differently today by the Department of Justice than she might have been in 2007 and 2008.
Right. So, I mean, so that's an example of a possible justifiable redaction.
And there may be others, right?
Right. But here's the thing about all these redactions, right? Am I crazy that they're supposed to give like written justification for them all?
No, you are
not. And also all of it seems incredibly haphazard and willy-nilly. And like, for instance, Trump being redacted in one set of documents and not in another, like wherever he was redacted in that set of documents, that's in violation of the law, like pretty plainly.
All right. So people get the gist. Look, the documents are continuously being released, right? And they are foul, yo. Just what I read from the download that I got from the Justice Department, I was shocked. I didn't realize it because the legacy media had covered portions of it, but they didn't cover everything that was in there. And yo, it is terrible. It's terrible. And again, I'm going to say this again. There is communications in there that amount to Jeffrey Epstein or Trump or both of them having a little girl killed for telling the police or talking about what they were doing, like straight up. It's in there. I read it myself. It's in the FBI communications. That's how bad some of the information is in there. And I wouldn't be surprised if it gets worse. I wouldn't be surprised if listen, y'all, I'm telling you, people wanted these files released, and I'm one of the people that wanted it released. And I suspected that there would be definitely many foul things. And this is one of the things I suspected. Like, people will tell you that's been listening to me. I've said this before. I said, what if somebody was killed over this shit and they're covering it up? I said this a couple of times a few months back, right? But of course, I couldn't imagine that something like that would come up in the communications, but now we know it has. But listen, y'all, it can be 1,000 times. It can be much more worse than you think. Like, I really do believe it is exactly what everyone has thought. Anything, any bad thing you could have thought in your mind, it's probably there. That's my thought. And including espionage, including Putin having some of the knowledge about this information, including others, being other people, these 10 people. It might be more than 10. It might be 20. Yeah, but I really do think that this is like a watershed moment for the U.S. Like, these files need to be released before the country can clearly go on, because it obviously involves more people than just Trump. And if one of those people could, allegedly could be in the White House, I mean, then what about the other people? Where are the other people? Where are they? Are they in the Senate? Are they in Congress? Are they Supreme Court judges, justices? I mean, where are they? You see what I mean? Yeah. This is horrible enough to be worried. And if you're not worried by this, you're stupid. You're incredibly stupid. You probably wouldn't worry about anything if you ain't worried about this. Now, you might not think this affects your life, but let me ask you, what has Congress done about health care? Has Congress done something about health care? You might think this don't affect your life, but they don't seem too much. The same government that allowed Trump, the same people that supported Trump, what have they done about your health care, since you don't think it connects to your life? Yeah, you should be worried. Yeah, exactly. Ken, I'm fucking look, I'm in Copenhagen, Denmark, and I'm fucking terrified for my goddamn country. This is like a nuclear bomb. This is worse than a nuclear bomb. This is like from the inside, and that's the whole point, because you can't have nobody blackmailing your president, and you can't have nobody blackmailing companies or foreign governments, companies too, blackmailing Supreme Court justices to make the rulings come out the way they want them to be, or congressional members to make them vote the way they want them to vote every goddamn time. You ever think about why your healthcare shit is out of whack? You ever think about that? Like, why? Why? How come whenever it comes to basic justice for Americans, it just never seems to happen? Happens for everybody else in the Western world. Paid education, free higher education, fucking universal health care. Everywhere else in the Western world, not the U.S. Always got something to do with the mighty dollar, too. The mighty dollar. Plenty of money to waste. Not any money for the taxpayer. Not any services for the taxpayer, the one flipping the bill. Like, that is foul. But in any case, let me go over. Now, there was something else I wanted people to check out. I was going to check out Lawrence. I heard he did some good reporting on this too. But I want to flip over now to this hate speech part and this Nicki Minaj bullshit. And then I'm going to be up out of here. This, Charlie Kirk event, this whatever they call themselves, And thank God I don't even remember what they call themselves, because I don't want their trash in my brain. They're not, for real. I can't wait till nobody even remembers Charlie Kirk, remembers any of their organizations, nothing, because this shit is foul. But in any case, Adam Mockler was on CNN, and he took these people for a ride. And big up to Adam Mockler. He's a young guy out of Chicago. Right, down with the Midas.
My entire life
with the Midas touch. Right, down with Midas touch. Ben Marcellus and the rest of that crew. Right now, but listen, this stuff is serious. He said some things that I really, really appreciate. And no matter who you are, like, please take a second to hear what he's saying. And because these people, I'm so disappointed in some of the adults here on Abby's programming. And I swear, they just paid talking heads. And paid talking heads keep the lame bullshit going on that doesn't have to exist in the United States of America. And they keep making excuses for it. But Adam, he takes some serious stabs at it. So let's just hear a little bit of it.
Republicans have been targeting minority group after minority group. Conservatives have been getting rich and gaining.
Now they're talking about the Charlie Kirk meeting. The what's that? America? What is that fucking thing? JD Vance was just speaking at. Let me see. What is it called here? I have it here. It's called what the hell? I don't even know what the hell the name of the. Yo, what is the name of this damn thing they were speaking at? Here we go. Hold on. It's this one right here.
Birthday.
This crap.
And that's right. And in the midst.
What is this called? Yeah, Turning Point. Okay. That's all. It's called Turning Point. Now, Adam Mockler does some a good breakdown of what happened there. So people need to check this out. Let's see.
Do you want outstanding results? You need a
I just want to play a little bit of it because I'm sick of all the using the rapist tropes. And I want to break down one thing. I want you to understand how they use these tropes, how they're doing this. Look, there's a guy on here who's supposed to be playing the right. It's two right people, people arguing the right perspective. One black guy and one white guy. The white guy is always up there. I think his name is Steve or something. I'm not sure. But in any case, he's claiming to be against anti-Semitism. And what I want to show you guys is how he's not against anti-Semitism and how he's using it. See, what they've done here, the right, is they've figured out a way to use the issue of anti-Semitism as a way to be prejudiced and racist, actually, and go after all kinds of people. So they don't really care about anti-Semitism. And let me give you the history of it. In the 50s and the 40s in the United States of America, Jews were fleeing Europe and they were coming to the United States of America, right? But not that the United States didn't already have a Jewish population. We did. It's been there for a long time. But World War II, the end of World War II and World War II, Hitler, it caused a lot more to flee to the United States of America. And those people fled to communities that had black people in them too, largely. So black Americans and Jewish people were in close proximity to each other. You see what I mean? Now, because of that, they had close relations. They actually had close relations. And the right has always hated that in the civil rights movement. Jewish people played a role in the civil rights movement also, and the right, the KKK, has always hated that. They've always hated that and gone after that. You see what I mean? To try to split these people up that actually have real history and real blood in the country fighting for civil and human rights. Now, what the right has done here is put up these proxy people claiming that they care from the right. These right people claim that they care about Jewish people, that they care about anti-Semitism, when everybody knows the KKK hated Jews too. They hate blacks, Jews, gays, Latinos. They hate a whole list of people, right? And Jews are one of the people in America. That's nothing new. So what they've done now is they've tried to pretend like they care about anti-Semitism. And if you notice, in this Turning Point event, you actually got one of these dudes up there. He's complaining about anti-Semitism in there, right? And you're going to hear Scott Jennings try to defend it, try to defend Tucker Carlson. Like, oh, no, Tucker Carlson is, he's not a racist, And it's like, but actually, or does he defend Tucker Carlson? But in any case, let me let it play, and I'll point it out to you where the game is, where the phoniness is. Let's see here. Let's listen to Adam now.
Targeting minority group after minority.
Big up to Adam Mockler.
Group. Conservatives have been getting rich and gaining power off of this, targeting immigrants, targeting LGBTQ people, women. It's been Somalis, Haitians. But the second that certain MAGA commentators are now the subject of this exact type of bigotry, they have a stunning amount of moral clarity about it. Vivek Ramaswamy only had moral clarity when anti-Indian American hatred was being spread. Republican Representative Randy Fine has a lot of moral clarity about bigotry when it's against him, but the way that he talks about Zohran Mamdani, the way he talks about Ilhan Omar is incredibly contradictory. You can't just stop bigotry from entering your movement when it's hitting you. You have to stop it at the door. Do you know who Paul Ingrassia is?
Sure.
Do you know who Paul Ingrassia is?
Yeah, we've debated it.
Do you know what?
And now here's a black dude, and I'm gonna tell you, he's a fucking talking head. Just like Jennings is up here. He's a fucking talking head. Like, they're arguing points. And even one of the points the black dude was saying is, if you want to understand what's going on, you got to leave politics out of it. but they're playing politics. They are arguing a political point. They're not arguing what's really actually going on, the facts. This is their political positioning that they're arguing the whole time. But listen to Adam. He's gonna walk all over them. Listen.
Okay, so do you know what Paul Ingrassia said?
Yeah, we've debated
that he has a Nazi streak. Oh, you've debated it, but has Trump fired him, or is he still a part of the administration?
I don't know where he is right now.
See, so how the hell is Scott Jennings not going to know where this dude is? You see that? That's bullshit. So Scott Jennings, shut the fuck up. What's your problem if you don't know who the dude is? That means he's not even paying attention to what is going on at all. You see what I mean? He just, it's just ridiculous. But let's go some more.
He's a part of the administration, and you know that. You're lying right now. You know that he is a part of the administration. He is still there, and he said he, quote, has a Nazi streak. So you can sit there and play coy, but you are not having the clarity that you are talking about right now.
Now listen. There is no way in hell you can care about anti-Semitism or care about any Jewish person if you're willing to sit up here and listen to people make jokes about fucking Nazis. It just don't work that way. You can't have your cake and eat it too. It does not. It's not a joke. And you cannot stand next to people that are making anti-Semitic comments, and then you're actually thinking that, oh yeah, they just, they care about Jews. So in other words, a Nazi can talk about black people, a Nazi can talk about anybody else, and that's fine with Scott Jennings. You see the point there? You see that? Like, and then he's going to raise anti-Semitism up to pointing at Mamdani, right? Now, I'm not, I don't know that much about Mamdani myself, but I do like some of the things that that he wants to put into place. But I can't vouch for all his statements because I haven't listened to him for years, or, I haven't followed him that way. But the thing is that Scott Jennings is the one that's in a party right now that is welcoming Nazis, openly welcoming KKK, openly doing that. And that is never KKK, Nazi. You cannot care about Jewish people. And then listen to him try to say Mamdani doesn't care about Jewish people. Listen to this.
You condemn Paul Ingrassia?
Hey everybody, Adam.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, Adam ripped their ass up. He ripped them into pieces. But let me see here. Let's play some more. Here we go. Let's go.
Make sure that you drop a like below, and make sure you're subscribed.
Yeah, drop a like below, y'all. If y'all haven't liked the video, like the video, please.
The Adam
subscribe to the channel, please.
feed. Thank you all.
And subscribe on Adam's page also.
Check this out.
The FBI back in July released this memo that I was reading where they made a few claims that were just blown out by the Trump administration. First of all, they said that, or blown out by the DOJ. They said that releasing any more files would require releasing child pornography. Then they said there was no evidence linking anyone else to the scheme other than Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. After Congress forced the release of tens of thousands of files, we now know the FBI was lying. Pam Bondi also lied on Fox News. She said she had the files on her desk. She was going to release them. So the entire priority of this administration has been off. The DOJ had a few goals. They said they have to release all of the files with reasonable redactions. They did neither of those things. They didn't release all of the files. They're drip feeding them, and the redactions weren't reasonable. It was over-redacted in some parts, and as we just saw, under-redacted in other parts, and victims were exposed.
And they had plenty of time to do this right.
Yeah.
And I think that's been one of the concerns and the complaints of the victims, is that they never heard from DOJ about how to do this in a way that centered their needs for justice in all of this, which is purportedly what DOJ says that they were trying to protect. But it seems like Trump is also concerned about protecting, other people who were palling around with Jeffrey Epstein.
I don't like the pictures of Bill Clinton being shown.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the pictures of other people being shown. I think it's a terrible thing. I think Bill Clinton's a big boy. He can handle it. But you probably have pictures being exposed of other people that innocently met Jeffrey Epstein many years ago.
Yep.
And so, to Nina's point,
that is so out of place. That comment Trump is making is so out of place. People want the files released, and he's taking the other side, actually, by making that comment. Yeah.
Not wrong that there are some people who are photographed there. Maybe they went to a concert, an event, weren't involved.
Why is he worried about other people? And is he worried about other people I mean, does he worry about the victims more, or is it the other people more, you know?
In the larger scheme. But Bill Clinton has been targeted by Trump officials in the last few days. And his spokesperson said, we're not afraid of this being released. Please release it all. It seems that the only person who really doesn't want more released is President Trump.
Well, President Trump came out a few weeks back and was actually in support of releasing the files and having everything be out there. I think that what the president's point here is a presumption of innocence until guilt, right? To not jump to any conclusions. But I would say we got to extract the politics out of this whole thing, and it's everyone at the table agrees on.
Yeah, to extract the politics out. That's just, see, I mean, why is it that he's advising people to extract the politics when he hasn't extracted the politics himself? You see, and he's a talking head. Like, his job is to literally argue these points. It's not that he believes these points. He don't believe them.
The main point of this is getting justice for the victims and ensuring that we do it correctly. And Abby, I agree with your point. I agree with your point that we've got to protect the victims, keep their names redacted. And even if that does mean over redacting until we are sure, you know, what we have and what we're releasing is there. But I'm not going to go down the road of injecting politics into something that shouldn't be political at all. It's about getting justice and closure for these victims, but also doing so out of respect for the courts, like you said earlier.
But they ran on a whole platform of politicizing it. Like, they literally ran on the platform that politicized the Jeffrey Epstein situation. They literally did themselves. And he's sitting there saying, you got to extract the politics from it. It sounds to me like he's scared of revenge coming. He's scared of the clock ticking, running out, and people getting some justice finally. He's like, extract the politics, man. You know, that really means, like, please don't rip us apart. Please don't hurt us. I didn't mean to do any bad. I was just doing what President Trump told me. Like, they're scared of the impending political reaction. That's what they mean, because it is going to be a political reaction. Ain't nobody extracting a motherfucking thing about politics. They are coming after you because you deserve it. Trump deserves it. These people are criminals. These people are pedophiles. These people have committed crimes to the 10th degree, and it is somebody's job to go and prosecute their ass. For real. Like, they're crazy. Extract the politics.
And having that operating with that presumption of innocence until we have.
They didn't extract the politics. Look, yeah, Adam's going to bring this up too. They didn't extract the politics when they went after Letitia James.
Evidence that someone is guilty through the process of the courts.
It's uniquely important to Donald Trump now that there's a presumption of innocence, but he's willing to proactively say that people like Schiff, people like Letitia James are guilty. Now it's very, very important that we're super careful about what photos we're releasing. I just find it really convenient that Donald Trump is now so worried about this.
Well, I go back to the point I made earlier, is that you just tried to re-inject politics in this. You have to separate these two things. There are people whose lives
This dude, what is it? He's starting to sound like a molester himself. You have to extract the politics. He on CNN. And he ain't got no politics. What the fuck? He's on a channel that's specifically designed to insert politics in situations, and he's like, extract the politics and shit. Okay, why the hell you on CNN then? Damn.
Trump does. Here I'll start to separate it when Trump separates it.
Well, be the leader and show him the way.
I'm a 23-year-old. He's a president.
Yeah, put down your weapons. Abandon your vote. Extract the politics, you know?
This is the You're telling Adam
that's Adam's go-to.
Wait.
I believe
you guys' go-to is more than Adam.
You make it different. Opinion leader.
He's not wrong. I mean, one of those.
No, this is what they go to the left. This is that slick talk. The left is not supposed to have weapons. The left is not supposed to defend themselves. The left ain't supposed to kick nobody's ass. The left is not supposed to defend who they are, defend their way of life by all means necessary. This is that bullshit that they try to put out. But they can do whatever they want with weapons. They can do whatever they want with the law. They can just run over any fucking thing, and everyone else is supposed to just sit there and accept it. And this is what they mean by just extract the politics out of it. Yo, okay, yeah, all right, motherfucker. Okay, you almost destroy our country. You think it's gonna ride? Okay, you take away people's health care and you think that's going to ride? You see what I mean? They're literally about to get people kicked out on the fucking street, and they're telling people to extract the politics. No, that person deserves a motherfucking slap. That is a bullshit statement to make in this crisis that the country is under. They don't even want to do their motherfucking job, these congressional members, and go and help some people not be kicked out of their fucking houses. And these are the very people that pay their salaries. And he's talking about extractive politics. No, it's only a political solution in the first place. Like, what the hell? People have to wait around for Congress, for there to be enough goddamn congressional members to impeach and enough senators to impeach this motherfucker. That's not nice. That's horrible.
One of these two is the president.
The
and
president
it's not
of the
Adam.
United States.
Maybe Adam will be a future
It's not
president.
Adam.
Who knows?
At
But the
least
fact
not
of the
yet.
matter is that this is not about politics.
No, it's all
Extract
about
the politics out of it. And
Yeah, it's about politics. What the fuck?
have to do whatever it takes.
What is he? Who is he think he talking to? Some stupid morons and shit. What? I mean, and notice they got the black guy up here talking about leave the politics alone. That is foul. That is foul. No, listen to me. Everybody, no matter who you are, be engaged in politics. Period. Every single body. I don't know what the hell he talking about, man. That is a damn shame. People, look, and I'm gonna be honest with you. This dude's I don't know who the fuck his ancestors are. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but my ancestors died, were involved in being enslaved. You see what I'm saying? Like, some of them at least. And this guy is talking about, hey man, extract the politics out of it. They didn't have a vote. Women didn't have a vote. And he's got the nerve to sit up here and talk about extract the politics out of it. No, motherfucker, you need to extract yourself from the politics. Like, really, I don't like your vote. I don't like your political stance. Like, stop having a political stance. Shut the fuck up and let us lead the country then. Just extract yourself. Extract yourself, homeboy.
Takes to get justice for these victims
I get
while
that,
also protecting
but I also think that people are, I think, rightfully concerned that DOJ is trying to protect one man.
Oh no,
and that is
they
Donald
absolutely
Trump. And
are.
that concern was
They have
heightened when
flatly denied it.
there were photos that
Of course they gonna
were
deny
put
it,
out
Scott.
and then they were removed from the website and then put back out once there was some outcry about it. So that suspicion is there because not just because of the words that Trump said under duress, but because of the actions of the president and his administration when it came to this issue. Should there be boundaries? Should someone be able to go up on that stage and say, if you believe...
Okay, so here they come with the Charlie Kirk part and the hatred and the things, the hate speech, which they really are doing, but they get away with it under the guise of freedom of speech, right? So
these things, you are not part of our movement.
Well, look, my personal view is that this was an event. It's the first big rally since Charlie got murdered.
I learned that ChatGPT works best with detailed prompts.
Oh, shit. Sorry about that. 2 seconds here. Here we go.
And specifically
So they talking about the language at Charlie Kirk, J.D. Vance, this whole thing about, hey, now it's okay to not have to apologize for being a white guy. It's like, notice how these... that's so funny because nobody should have to feel ashamed for who they are, for their color or their heritage necessarily, right? Nobody should just instantly have to be ashamed for that. But isn't that what racism does? Make people feel ashamed for who they are? So why do you deny someone else's suffering under racism or discrimination while you want someone else to acknowledge yours? And see, for me, I'm for acknowledging everybody. I think to a certain degree, people get treated unfairly, right? But my way of dealing with that wouldn't be saying, you know what? I don't acknowledge anybody else's feelings. I only want you to acknowledge mine. Nah. And you heard me say it. Like, I've said this before plenty of times. It's like, I'm not a woman. I'm a man, but I understand women didn't have the right to vote for a long time. You don't have to be a woman to understand that women have been discriminated against in the United States of America. Why is it so hard to understand that when it's a fact? Knowing that only means that you know the history of your country, basically, right? So why should you not know the same about everybody else? But here's the thing. I think where they come from is that they're saying we don't want to talk about the discrimination of that has gone on in the country. And when you do, that's discriminating against me. Like, I feel bad to be white. It's like, no, that's not the whole, that you shouldn't feel bad to be white, because white itself, that's not what that is. But in the United States of America, right? In the gist of it, white men, right, could own property. And the people that can own property, they could vote. The poor white men, they couldn't vote. So why poor white man? You shouldn't be out there capping for this bullshit. You should be ready to acknowledge all forms of discrimination, because you were discriminated with to a bit too. Now, don't get it twisted. You could, if you didn't own land, you couldn't vote. You see what I'm saying? But that changed. You see what I mean? So you don't have to just ignore everyone else's thing. You just have to be aware of it, what it was, what it's about. You see what I mean? And acknowledge all aspects of it. You see what I mean? Now, there was classism in that vote. You're broke ass. If you were a broke ass, you couldn't fucking vote. Don't you get the classism in that? Don't you get that? You were not part of the high. You were denied a voice because you didn't have any fucking money. Okay, but that doesn't mean you didn't benefit in some other way versus what someone else had to suffer through. You didn't have to suffer as a slave because you were not black. You were not deemed a Negro. That's another thing. For centuries, you weren't. So you don't know what that is like. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, you could put your thinking cap on and try to imagine what it's like, or you could listen to some black people tell you what it's like, but it's the same thing. If you want to know about women's suffrage, listen to women. They could tell you about it. They've been documenting it. Pick up a book. Why don't you? If you want to know about anti-Semitism, why don't you go find out? Pick up a book. Go talk to a Jewish person, because, you know, they really did exist in the United States of America. You know, I don't know if you know that. Some people, but in any case, it's the same for everybody. It's not about putting somebody above anyone else. And it's not about any Olympics or games on suffrage. It's not about, oh, I'm better than you because I suffered more. No, it's not about that. It's just about acknowledging people. You know what I mean? And then for them to make the insult statement like, oh, now in America, I don't have to feel bad because I'm white. No. If you're feeling bad, it's because of something else. It's because of something else. Maybe you're not doing enough to confront the realities people are facing, or confronting the histories. You see what I mean? I mean, this same person, J.D. Vance, it's like, you know, this guy, what is his record? What did he do? You know, is his record more extensive than whose record? How did he become the vice president? You see what I mean? What did he do to become the vice president? You know, and he's talking about, oh, now in America, you don't have to feel bad for being white. It's like, it's just
Candace
crazy.
has been doing,
it's just
terrorizing
crazy.
a grieving widow for the last several months with conspiracy theories, some of them wrapped up in this whole Israel nonsense, is nothing short of despicable. And I think Ben was right to call that out. I didn't hear Ben calling for the excommunication or the deplatforming of anyone, but I do think it's more than reasonable to say, what kind of a movement allows someone in whose job is to monetize the grief of a widow after she had to witness her husband and the leader of this organization get murdered? I think that's more than in bounds for him to talk about. Look, we're a political party and a political movement. We're not a sponge. You don't have to absorb everything that oozes in under the door. I think that was Ben's point. And look, everybody's going to have a right to say whatever they want. It's not about free speech. It's about what sort of speech you want to be identified with. I, for one, don't really want to be identified with someone who is terrorizing a grieving widow.
Yeah, and we'll get to how Vance plays into this, because you mentioned it, but
Is she grieving? Yeah, but Candace Owens is out there, you know, no doubt about it. I mean, she's gone way beyond the pale, if you want to say that. She's gone way beyond, you know, any type of normal criticism. I mean, I don't like Charlie Kirk. I think he's full of shit. I think it was bullshit what he was saying. I think he was spreading hate, and I think it was stupid what he was doing. But I also don't think the person who killed him was correct. I think that's a travesty in itself. Like, you don't have to kill somebody because they're ignorant as fuck. Like, that's not the way to deal with it. You lose your life. This young man, 20 years old, he's going to be thrown in jail the rest of his life. He missed his life over a shit-talking, hateful buffoon like Charlie Kirk. And Charlie Kirk might not see himself as hateful, but no, you hurt a lot of people by your words, by your hateful words, you know. And yeah, people just have to learn how to communicate together, you know. And Charlie Kirk wasn't helping it because nobody wants to, you know, it's like Charlie Kirk woke up to insult people, woke up every day to insult somebody and called that communication. You know, he never really pointed the finger at himself and insulted himself. You know what I mean? But he found others to be, you know, worthy of that. And he doesn't recognize the hurt that he's caused by doing that. You know what I mean? And people were capping for Charlie Kirk. You see what I mean? And Candace Owens was one of them. She was capping for Charlie Kirk. And now this guy doesn't like. You see how hypocritical this bullshit is? It's just bullshit. It's just.
New York Times wrote this. In the depths of these Republican divisions has been obscured by two things: shared affection for Trump and a shared revulsion at the left. But Trump is no longer on the ballot, and there's increased alarm over the new right. These two factors are working together to shrink the Republican tent.
Yeah, you said J.D. Vance, his opinion is important. He has had no moral clarity about any of this division whatsoever. He refused to condemn the Young Republican group chat when it came out a few months ago. They were talking about gas chambers. He's refused to condemn Paul Ingrassia. He's refused to directly combat the Groyper movement growing. I just think it's like my entire life, Republicans have been targeting minority group after minority group. Conservatives have been getting rich and gaining power off of this, targeting immigrants, targeting LGBTQ people, women. It's been Somalis, Haitians. But the second that certain MAGA commentators are now the subject of this exact type of bigotry, they have a stunning amount of moral clarity about it. Vivek Ramaswamy only had moral clarity when anti-Indian American hatred was being spread. Republican Representative Randy Fine has a lot of.
That's exactly it. The same guy that is now offended by Candace Owens had no problems watching people speak hatred about other people, you know, and that's so hypocritical. And I'm just saying there should be no. There shouldn't be a place where that's norm, where that's accepted as a norm or healthy. You know, people, you know, that just shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't matter who it is or what person you're talking about or what group of people you're talking about, you know. And but the issue there in the right is that they do make excuses for it and try to call it something else. And then it's so insidious that one person will allow it to be said about another group of people, and then all of a sudden when the finger is pointed at them, then they have a problem with it. And that's exactly what's going on. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Moral clarity about bigotry when it's against him, but the way that he talks about Zohran Mamdani, the way he talks about Ilhan Omar is incredibly contradictory. You can't just stop bigotry from entering your movements when it's hitting you. You have to stop it at the door. This is not courageous for people to speak out. It is self-preservation at this point.
You brought up Mamdani. Do you believe that Mamdani has shown any moral clarity when it comes to Israel and the attacks on
The day
Jews?
after he was elected, there was a swastika. Let me finish. There was a swastika drawn on a window, and he immediately tweeted out and condemned it. There is no equivocation between the way. There is no equivalent between the way Zohran and J.D. Vance have conducted themselves.
So today,
do you think J.D. Vance should condemn Nick Fuentes? Should J.D. Vance condemn the Groypers?
He has. He told him he could eat SHIT.
All right, so I'm just going to say this. Big up to Adam Mockler. I appreciated that. That's really cool to see a young guy out there, you know, wiping the floor with these old nuts. Like this, I mean, but at least Adam really believes what he's saying. See, that's the thing. It's like he's not a talking head. He's not just saying it to make political points. And that's the thing that I like about Adam Mockler. The rest of what's this guy's name? Whatever I forget his name. But sometimes some of the other talking heads there, they just remind me of the left version of Fox News, you know, where they just try to have a conversation and make it seem like there's two sides of the coin and blah, blah, blah. No, there's no two sides of the coin. Look, Americans, nobody deserves to be mocked. No one deserves for their ethnicity. No one deserves to be mocked for their gender. Nobody deserves to be mocked because of their religion. Nobody deserves. And also this thing with J.D. Vance talking about, you know, this might be his opinion. He might think that the United States creed, America's creed, is Christianity. But obviously he's only saying it for hateful reasons. It's not because he believes any of it. And that's the problem. What people need to know is that, listen, it's a secular state. The United States doesn't have a state religion. Very simple. Everyone is welcome with their religions to practice equally. Everybody is welcome, you know. And when you start saying these things that really put fear in people's hearts. Because listen, a lot of people, Jewish people, African Americans, were stalked by the KKK in the United States of America. That's just my parents' generation. They literally took crosses, Christian crosses, and burnt them as a sign of hate and fear, to create fear, and hung people. It's not cool to play games with religion and hate. It's not cool to do that. It's not cool to use religion to terrorize other groups of people. That is not cool. That is not cool. That is ignorant. And we have to not get to the point. We have to agree to put it down. There can be no place for it. You have the place for your religion, but don't mock people's intelligence. You can't say that you're being religious when really what you're doing is being hateful towards other people. You see what I'm saying? So that shit is just another trap. And it's the same trap that walked Trump right into the White House. Bigotry. What did he do for America? What did he do for the United States? It's the same trap. Bigotry, using those tropes, is what people got attracted to. And so they didn't have to listen and demand anything else from him. They didn't have to demand any experience. They didn't have to demand any know-how. They didn't have to demand nothing. They were just like, Trump is going to do it all himself. He said, he made fun of Jews. He made fun of Hispanics. He made fun of women. He talked down to women. I like that. I think that's powerful. I'm going to vote for him. And that's exactly what these people did. They voted for his ass. And now look at what he's doing, taking their health care away. He hasn't done nothing for them. Brought in Elon Musk. Elon Musk got 3 passports. Three passports, 3 citizenships. And he gets these broke asses to put money in his pocket through their tax dollar. You know, that's what walked it in. And that should be embarrassing. That should be embarrassing. I mean, to know that you got used by your own bigotry and you didn't even want health care out of the deal, that is pure ignorance. Pure ignorance. That is pure ignorance. You know, that is something very, very dangerous, very destructive. And I really hope people that use that hatred as politics to think about what it got you, because it didn't get you a goddamn thing except a bad situation. You know, situation could have been okay, and you opted for a fucked up situation. And that's exactly what you're going to get. That's exactly what you're getting right now. It's December 24th. And in 6 days, your health care premiums will double and triple and quadruple. And all of your family members will feel the effects of that stupid ass fucking vote that could have been avoided if you weren't bigots. And bigot is the word for a dumbass racist. You know, the dumb type, like really dumb. You're not the scheming type. You're just dumb as fuck. Just hate people for no reason at all. You know what I'm saying? Just because you heard. Just because you heard you had to hate them and shit. You know, and that's really what it comes down to. But in any case, I'm going to be out. I'll be back with you guys later on today. I appreciate everybody for coming out. Listen, if you don't mind, subscribe to the channel. Like the video. But subscribe, hit the bell button so you can be a part of the streams. I do the impromptu streams. I don't always have an exact time, but it's usually it usually is a certain time. But then there's a little bit of, you know, change up depending on the date. But I appreciate everybody for coming out. Listen, we can do this as Americans. We can do this. We can dispute the lies. Listen, we can't have a president that's out there attacking our allies. We can't have a president that's out there getting away with rape and murder. Or fraud. We can't have that. We can't have a president that doesn't want any American to have health care. A president needs to stand on every American having health care. Okay? A president needs to stand on every American having access to education. That's what a president is supposed to stand on. Okay? How he gets it is supposed to be up to Congress. Let Congress argue about how, but he at least is supposed to be the advocate for all of us having a fair shot in our goddamn country. And that has not been the case. You see what I mean? And we're not just talking about Trump, but just generally, that has not been the case. We deserve better. We deserve a fair shot. We deserve the shot that other people are getting in other countries. And our European allies, our Western allies are getting that shot. We paying health care. And do you know what percentage of the taxes are taken? Taxes out of your check that you will continue to pay even without health care. They are huge. They go to these companies. They're huge. They are huge. And you know why it's not getting everybody covered? Because of corruption. That's what it is. Those corporations are taking the American people on our fucking ride. And we are the laughing stock because of it. We're the laughing stock. Okay, we have to get that straight. We got to get it straight. So on that note, don't let somebody confuse you and distract you with the bigotry, no matter who you are. Let's stay focused on the topics that matter, the topics that's going to help all of us, not just one of us, okay? All of us. Let's stick on those topics, because what good is it if I have a little something and everybody next to me doesn't, or if people next to me are struggling with it? What good? I don't want to walk by them every day and see that I'm doing okay, but you got problems every day. That's not a good look. That's not a good feeling. You see what I'm saying? So on that note, I'm going to be out. I appreciate everybody for coming out. Big up to Bits. I appreciate you, Bits. Thanks a lot for the memberships too, y'all. Everybody say thank you to Bits. I'm going to catch up with y'all later on today. Be good in the next about 10 hours. Happy holidays to those of you that practice some sort of holiday. and we take it from there. One. Impeach Trump. Peace.
They want war. Crime babies looking for food. Starvation, the recipe. People subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day in every clue. Don't let it go. It's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep. Leaving 7 roads to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct. Then I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and I feel we on the break. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die. You voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. War. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers, cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about controlling the air or the weather. I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack and now there's double. But nature gets the shit in a way that's subtle. If you stop the machines for a minute you might hear, but they won't cause the TV's whisper in the ear. And capitalism has eyes that don't tear, and they cloud up and get crazy and won't steer. And like an ab, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison. They want war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. War. All they really want is a war. Diversionary diversionary tactic to make the big score. Them diamonds in the mud, and them you know they want more, but they wanna keep it low, so they manifest the war. See a whack MC when he bustin', but I just back away real cool, no fussin'. I'd rather go kicking in the streets with the bums and use the knowledge to collect what? Some funds, open a non-profit and build a damn school. And this is the story of how a great king rules. There's many that claim to know the local demographic, but don't have the nerve to tell you the truth. It's tragic, but I do, so sit back and let me spit this shit to you. You feel better when I spit this shit to you. Despite the system trying to clamp down on the people will learn how to stand up to evil. Not evil that's across the globe, that's too far. But evil lies in their own backyard. And fighting, it's not an option, they can't win. The government, it's not supposed to represent sin, but then again they do, and that's a problem. So let's go down and figure out how to solve them. It's not fun being a rapper that can't speak, but we do, yes, and plus we make fat beats. Yo, we smoke weed, break up trees. So listen, bringing fat beats, that is our mission. You wanted to see us, homeboy, shut up and listen. Thelonious and Big Benny, brother, check the vision. Mentalities of different realities. Enter the Star Trek room when you hear the boom. I be the Walkman with the super bass. Automatic stop, yes, stereo cassette player with the delayer, freaking